Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Jason Lloyd and Mikey McNuggets. I'm Adam the Bull. Jason Lloyd in a panic right now. He lost his earpiece. Oh, you found it?
Found it, Steve.
Where did it go?
It was still in the bag. Remember the...
It looked like it fell. I could have sworn it fell off, too.
I know. It's the whole...
Yeah, it keeps falling out.
Yeah.
These things are a mess.
I need to super glue it for a
what's
third
crazy?
time.
Yeah.
I've had this one for 10 years now.
It's never fallen out.
Never fallen out.
No. Mine worked great, and now it's starting to fall out again, but I got whatever. Anyway, we got Earl in studio today behind the glass. He's producing. We've got Steve. We've got Anthony. Earl, who is our... No? Do we not have a title sponsor today? We do not, so we don't have to know who our title sponsor is.
We got one tomorrow, though.
Okay, very good. I mean, you never know. All right, guys, how we doing? We'll get into the game in a second. With plenty to talk about. Anybody got a casual story to tell? I got to tell a quick casual story.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. I got
so
something
I'm always proud of my son, as you know, but I'm particularly proud of him, like at another level yesterday, because when he got out of school yesterday, his back was hurting, which I don't love.
He's way too young to have back problems.
His back was bothering him. I don't know what happened. Like he had done something, and he was really uncomfortable. And we had a game last night, right? So he's taking practice swings, and it was every time he took a swing, it hurt. So I said, okay. I called my physical therapist. Shout out Dr. DiFilippo.
Shout out to
Tore it all
Dr.
down to the field.
What's that?
Shoot him up, bring some tore it all down
right?
to the field.
So we went into full trainer mode. So he gave me 2 exercises for Aaron to do. We did ice and heat. We gave him some ibuprofen. That was his Toradol. Was the ibuprofen. And he did all his exercises. He was really on top of it. And by the time we had to leave, we wanted to leave for the field about 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, he was feeling significantly better. He's like, I could do it, Dad. I'm ready to go. And not only did he play, but again, got on base every time.
That's
2
awesome.
hits.
Nice.
2 balls to the outfield, 2 hits. He walked in his last at bat. Unfortunately, we lost again, but it was a much better game than the blowout the night before. We lost a heartbreaker, 3-1.
Ooh.
We played a full 6 innings.
Heartbreak's in the air in Cleveland right now.
My starting pitcher, shout out to this kid. Aaron's our best hitter right now. He's gotten on base all 5 times with 4 hits. And our starting pitcher, who's our best overall player, a kid named Owen Town. He, in a Little League game, now they didn't get up in the bottom of the 6th, so he pitched a complete game, 5 innings, 83 pitches in a Little League game. I wasn't going to let him go past 85. It was his last batter. He didn't walk a single batter in a Little League game. Do you believe that?
That's impressive.
I mean,
that's
unfortunately, the 1 inning, we were winning 1-0 until the bottom of the 4th. They scored a couple of runs. They got 1 good hit, a legit line drive. The rest we made a couple of errors in the field. But unfortunately, a heartbreaker, but we'll bounce back Thursday. Hopefully the Cavs can bounce back, not Thursday, but Friday as well. And we'll get into that. Earl, you got something for us first?
Yeah, let's get into our first read, then we get into the show.
Okay, sounds good, man.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Like today on Hump Day, they're giving you a 30% boost on all your bets. Make sure you check that out. New to FanDuel, it's perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Guys, every Cleveland sports fan knows heartbreak, right? If you grew up in this town, if you moved to this town, if you followed the teams in this town, the fans that root for the Cleveland teams are as hardened and toughened a of fan base as there can be, because they've seen it all, they've watched it all. Their hearts have been pulled out, stepped on, and crushed time and time again. And Jason, Mikey, this is another one to the list. This is an all-time bad loss.
It's one of the worst that I can recall.
Oh.
All things considered. I mean, my first thought was 2018 Game 1 when JR forgot to score.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, we all know the fumble to drive the shot.
Sure.
But even in more recent history, obviously the Indians in 2016, the rain delay and losing Game 7. But last night ranks up there with a 7-point lead in the final minute. You can't lose that game.
Minute.
Playing Game 2 at home with a chance to even the series and make it a series again, and now you've sort of rejuvenated yourselves.
Right.
You've gathered yourselves together.
Give a chance to the guys to come back, maybe.
They pushed all in last night on a game that they very clearly felt like they had to win, and to lose that game is devastating. It's one of the worst losses I can recall. It's only the second round. It's not a championship round. But still, given where they were at, given how good of a season this was, given the expectations for this year, to be wrecked with injuries at this point, throw it all in the pot and boil it at one time, it was devastating.
Is it the worst non-finals loss in franchise history, you think?
Is it worse than the shot?
Is it worse than the shot?
The shot, yeah.
No, again.
Since the shot. That's a long time ago.
Since the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, since the shot, for sure.
To me, and Jason and I did a whole Cavs show this morning. I didn't realize he was on the show with us today. So if you want to hear 40 more minutes when all the Cavs stuff we talked about, we did this 2 hours ago.
Yeah, but we're gonna do some different. That was the nuts and bolts breakdown. We probably won't get to.
Last night, in a way, and as Jason was talking about that, it just kind of came to me. It's almost a microcosm of the whole season in a way. The Cavs did everything right in the lead up to the playoffs to keep guys healthy, keep minutes low, be as healthy as possible for the playoff run, sit guys down the stretch, not overexert themselves, only to, in Game 1, have all these things go wrong, and now you have 3 key players on the injury report. For 47 minutes last night, the Cavs did almost everything right. Almost. The first quarter was an immaculate defensive effort. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell put on one of the most heroic offensive performances I can remember in recent modern NBA history. He scored 48 points and made 1 3. Mm-hmm. In today's day and age of threes, how do you score 48 points making only 1 3? Even Jokic, a center, is making more threes. Donovan's
been awful from 3.
He's shooting under 25% since March 1st. The calf injury is legit, and that's what makes what he did last night even that more impressive. And then to be up 7 points in the final minute. And we could go play-by-play if we want. We could talk big picture. So many things had to go wrong for Cleveland and then right for Indiana in succession. If any one of those two things, there's about 12 different plays.
Right.
Cleveland does something bad, Indiana does something good. 2 different circumstances. If any one of those things doesn't happen, Cleveland's heading to Indiana tied 1-1. But all 6 things that had to go wrong for Cleveland and all 6 things that had to go right for Indiana in succession happened. And it just feels like a gut punch, a demoralizing defeat that isn't going to necessarily end the series. It's 2-0. It's not impossible.
Oh, let's stop it. It's ended the series.
I would not pick Cleveland to come back, but I'm just saying it has happened. The home team has lost the first 2. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
With all the injuries combined.
But it's going to be incredibly hard, and I don't know how you rebound and pick yourself off the floor from a game where you put everything you had on the table, and it still wasn't enough.
The shot was worse. I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
the shot was worse because it ended the series.
Yes, right.
This did not.
No. I mean, these last few days we were on such a high after that Heat game, after that Heat sweep, and we acknowledging that the Heat are terrible, or not terrible, but they're not very.
No, they sucked.
Even with Darius's injury, we were riding high with our confidence because you're like, okay, Darius will be back soon. Indiana's good, but they're not that good. And then everything that could go wrong has gone wrong these last 2 games for the Cavs. And I think what's really stood out to me, guys, is they are just not physical enough. And maybe you think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. They got injuries. Donovan Mitchell, it's funny because I was at the Little League field last night. I was talking to my friend Chris, who's the offensive coordinator at Rocky River football team. And he goes, what do you think about the Cavs tonight? I said, Donovan's got to get 50 to win, for them to win. He needed 50 for them to win. If he would have had 50, I'm not blaming him.
We did the topic yesterday. Does that have to be a legacy game for Donovan Mitchell?
It had to be.
And it was.
And they still lost. Yeah. But look at this. He was getting the shit beat out of him
Yeah.
the entire game. Was there one player on the Cavs? Jaron Allen, Max Strus, Ty Jerome, Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro. Did anybody at some point go up to one of the Heat players and throw an elbow, knock somebody on their ass? Stop beating up our best player. We're going to do something about it. No, because they're a soft-ass team. Let's face it. They were a soft-ass team last year. We ignored it because they played great this year, and they're soft again. And that's why they got beat up. That's why they're hurt when the intensity is ratcheted up, and they did nothing to back Donovan Mitchell. I know a couple of guys had played well, fine, okay. Ty Jerome sucked. He was just horrible in this game.
He's very bad.
But there's no toughness and physicality. And you said, well, everything went wrong. And you're right. But part of the reason everything went wrong is because they weren't tough enough, this team. How do you let guys fly from half court to get a rebound and put it back? How do you give up? How do you give up an offensive rebound to Tyrese Halliburton at the end of the game when he's shooting the free throw? What is Max Strus doing on that inbound pass?
I put that more on Ty than Max.
Do you want we break down some of these?
Yes.
I have actually some of the plays.
You didn't think it was a lazy pass by Max?
It was, but it's more on Ty.
It's more on Ty
But
than it
it's
is on
okay.
Max.
It's both of them.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
The physicality thing is real. And
Yes.
and you're right. And it's been a concern. The Knicks beat them up 2 years
Yes,
ago.
they did.
And pushed them out of the playoffs.
Orlando, even though they beat Orlando,
Yeah.
they were physical with them.
I'll say real quick, because
Yeah.
you weren't there the first quarter, and I know you were at the Little League game for the first.
Yeah.
That first 12 minutes, seriously, the first 12 minutes, it was as physical as Cleveland
But that's
played
not
off.
good enough.
I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
They had 7 guys yesterday.
Yeah.
Playoff minutes are not regular season minutes.
Yeah.
One play, it's like dog years. One playoff
Yeah.
minute's like 3. Merrill, Okoro, they played more minutes. And I'm not, this could sound like an excuse. I'm giving you a little reality and a little context. They played more minutes than they were accustomed. In that last 2-3 minutes of the fourth quarter, those guys were legitimately gassed. And we could argue, were they gassed because they didn't play enough minutes in the regular season to be ready to withstand that level of intensity for that prolonged period? I'll have that argument. We could go back and forth.
I don't think
But they were legitimately gassed at the end.
That's not why they were gassed, and there's no excuse for
That
anybody.
is why they were gassed.
What's that?
Why else do you think they'd be gassed?
You think they were gassed because they didn't play enough during the regular season?
No, I'm saying we could have that debate of whether did they not play enough to be in a situation. So, hey, Dean, you got to play 35 minutes
Yeah,
now.
I don't know.
You're not ready.
I don't buy that, but to me, no. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, nobody's got an excuse to be gassed at the end of that game.
I'm not disagreeing
They've
with you.
played
I'm
less
just saying that's the
basketball than
reality.
anybody. There's no reason to be gassed.
I'm not
I
giving
don't
an
wanna hear
excuse.
it.
I'm telling you that was the situation.
Well,
Yeah.
Kenny said last night his one regret is that he didn't go to his bench more. He didn't play his bench more last night. I think that's – I disagree with that. I think he
Yeah.
did it the right way.
Yeah.
If you go to – Ty Jerome's having an awful night. If you
Yeah.
go to Craig Porter Jr., they're not going to guard him either. No one's going to pay attention.
That's right.
Donovan was playing 2-on-5 for
Yes.
the last 4 minutes of that game. It
Yes.
was Donovan and Max Strus and 3 dudes standing around.
Right.
That's it.
And the Pacers were swarming Donovan every time he touched the ball because they had no fear of Isaac Okoro. They
That's
had
right.
no fear of Dean Wade.
Right.
Max was a threat.
Yes.
But that was it. So that's why they were gassed, because they were literally 2 guys carrying the load for everybody else. And yes, Dean grabbed 10 rebounds. He was a 0 again on the offensive side of the ball. And in the playoffs, if you're not making shots, you can't be on the
Yes.
floor.
That's right.
But
Yes.
because of the Cavs situation where they're at with the injuries and who was available and who wasn't, you had Isaac Okoro bringing the ball up the floor
Yeah.
at the end of the game. And the last few minutes of the fourth, I was watching that going,
It-
oh my
it's absurd.
God in heaven,
Yeah.
how did we get here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's he? I'm not
And
trying.
despite all of that, they still should have won the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not trying to make an excuse. I'm just trying to give a little reality to the situation. Now, when you mentioned that one play with Strus,
Yeah.
do you want to start with that one?
The inbounds
the
pass?
inbounds pass?
Yeah. By the
Because-
way, when Strus did hit the 3 to go up 7, was there any doubt in your mind they were going to win the game?
Yes.
There was?
I thought, I mean, if you made me pick right then,
Yeah.
okay, they're going to win.
Right.
But was there no, there wasn't any
Yeah.
doubt. I mean,
Hand up, I walked downstairs to set up for a post-game stream.
Yeah, you
and
did.
and I watched the end on the Jumbotron behind 30 heads because I thought the game was over.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. I was wrong.
All right, go ahead. Show us this play.
If you want to take Telestrator, Steve, here. This is the
Illustrator full.
inbounds play. They're up 3.
Yeah.
Strus is inbounding the ball.
Yep.
The concept of this play, they ran this exact same play multiple times throughout the regular season. And Jason and I were sitting next to each other earlier in the season in the game against Boston.
Yeah.
Late in the fourth quarter, when they needed to inbound the ball up by 3 or 4, they
Right.
ran the same play, and Ty Jerome was George Niang.
Yeah.
Now against Boston, George Niang got the pass, got fouled, made the free throws, game over, they win.
Yeah. By the way, The only reason, correct me if I'm wrong, the only reason they had to inbound from the side is because they had to call timeout to get Donovan back in the game.
And
right?
because they couldn't get the ball in.
Both are true at the same time.
Right.
They had to burn 2 timeouts just to get the ball inbounded. They couldn't
Which
get the ball
eventually
in
led
last
to them
night.
not being able to challenge at the end, too.
Later.
I mean, Mike can point this out, but one of the things, we talked about this on the show this morning, one of the things I've been talking about, how many times have I said, coaching matters in the playoffs. You've got to be able to, what's your best ATO? What's your best inbounds play? What are you going to go to when you got to get a bucket? What do you go to? And for as great as Kenny has been this year, and he earned Coach of the Year and everything else, I didn't think he was up to the moment. When you can't get the ball in bounds, when you have to keep calling timeout just to get the ball in bounds.
No excuse. Yeah,
that's part of that is coaching.
Yeah. So this was the inbounds play. They ran the exact same play against Boston. I'm going to let it play through, and then I'll circle what I was showing. But Steve, let's take this and tell us. This is the play that gives Indiana a chance. Nembhard swims right around Ty Jerome, comes down, they get the ball.
Go back again. Okay.
So here's the premise of the play. I'll restart this from the very beginning. Donovan, it picks up from NBA.com. There's a little screen here by Jared Allen, this is Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill's going to the corner to clear out. Essentially, you're trying to create a one-on-one in 2 different spots. Donovan's coming to the corner here.
Yeah.
If he has a step on Nesmith, that's the pass. Donovan's option 1. If Donovan's not open, you're going to get Ty Jerome boxing out a guy in this position. They're going to end up coming down here. Ty's going to seal him. You're throwing the ball into a position. It's like a jump ball in football, a fade in the end zone. You throw into a spot, trusting your offensive player to get there. So
That's
as this goes
in
through,
this situation, but go ahead.
As this goes through, Donovan, who has played 37 minutes, whatever, at this point, on a tough calf, he has no necessary leverage on Aaron Nesmith as he's coming to the corner. That's a risky pass to make. With Halliburton standing in front of you, you can't really bounce it. Do you have a good angle without lobbing it? Strus doesn't like that angle. So as this goes through, this is what Max Strus sees. And I wish we could erase Donovan and Nesmith from the picture, but look at Ty Jerome with Nembhard on his back right there, Bull. That's a seal.
All right.
Strus is throwing to a spot.
Right.
He says, Ty.
Where's he supposed to throw the ball to? Like the free throw line, basically?
Somewhere in this area.
Okay.
Ty puts his hand up, like a post feed, basically.
Right.
Hit my hand. Yeah. This is Myles Garrett sitting here in the white sweatshirt, right, by the way. And I point that out.
I was like, why is he talking about Myles Garrett?
I point that out for the exact reason. When this is the situation you're in, and you have a defender on your back like this, you have to hold him off.
Right.
Right? Like this is I trust you to be there.
Who's the defender? I can't think of it.
It's Nembhard, who's a good defender.
Right, yeah.
Watch the swim move Nembhard puts on Ty Jerome here. This is a Myles Garrett approved move for the easy steal. There was absolutely no resistance from Ty Jerome here to stop this swim move around. As the ball is midair, this is the ball right here.
Right.
Nembhard already has inside position.
Yeah, it's over right there.
It's over. Completely lazy.
But that just seems like a crazy play call. Because that ball's just floating up in the air.
He has a defender in his face, Bull. Tyrese Halliburton standing right in front of him, so you can't bounce past it. You can't throw it straight.
And they're out of timeouts.
Out of timeouts.
Yeah.
You can see right here, literally says 0 timeouts on your screen. Mitchell's coming through. That's the play. You
don't think that's a lazy pass?
How else do you deliver that pass with someone standing literally right in your face, Bull? I'm genuinely asking, how else do you deliver that pass? What is supposed? You can't bounce it.
Can you have more of a line drive? Like a low line drive than a
Do you see Halliburton's 2 hands sitting right here? That looks like something I shouldn't draw. I mean, I'm being honest though. Like,
all right, so Ty Jerome.
To me, this is way more on Ty than it is on Max. I don't love the pass. Like, I think he lobs it a little too much. But when you have you on your back like that, Bull, you're saying, Ty, that is your ball. Like, you have to go get the damn. It's
now after you've broken it down like this, I'm going to blame the coach more than either of the players.
And that's fine.
Because, yes, Ty Jerome gets a move put on him, but that's hard. You're playing against a very physical player. You got to keep him on your hip for a decent amount of time there. That's not easy to do. A throw into a spot in that situation, that seems like too risky a play there.
Well, and this goes back to what Kenny said after the game, that they couldn't create separation. These guys were exhausted, and they couldn't get separation.
But why are the non-Donovan Mitchell players exhausted? Why? What have they done all game?
Well, I think part of it is what Mike said earlier. Yeah. It's the intensity of playoff minutes is different. Now I agree with you I mean, I think he ran the same group for the last 5 minutes. There was a little bit of subbing,
basically. There's an
offense,
offense,
defense.
defense.
Well, Ty Jerome had just come in the game. He had been sitting for a bit.
No, they ran they subbed with like 5 minutes left and basically ran that group.
Right.
If he subbed in, it's because they were doing an offense defense flip possession. But for the most part, that group rolled for the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
Right, but I think he sat until that 5-minute mark. Didn't he sit for a good chunk of the fourth quarter, Ty?
He said,
I don't know.
It was a bad game from Ty. Like,
I mean,
everything he did was wrong.
I don't want to hear that he's exhausted. You're supposed to be a finely tuned athlete.
Yeah, I mean,
You've done nothing this whole game. Donovan's the only one that's got an excuse being tired, in my opinion.
And Donovan played 36 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was around 36.
Derek played 39. That was the most.
And again, that's a lot of minutes. But, I mean, we've seen guys play 48
Sure. But
in a game like
Donovan's had to have guys, like 2 guys on him every freaking play.
Yeah.
Ty Jerome, he was
no one's giving Ty
Yeah.
a pass. Like, I hope that's not coming across as us giving a pass.
It's not. It was a good explanation. You're right. I blamed Strus, and you guys are right. It's probably not his fault as much. It's just
he's at blame. I don't think he's.
I just don't know how you turn the ball over there.
No, it's brutal. And the play before.
Let me ask you guys a question. The play where the 2 guys came streaking in to get the rebound.
The putback dunk.
Right.
Yeah, we had
Do
that
you
too.
think they missed that shot on purpose?
No.
Okay.
Missing a free throw is so. Steve, we
It's
have
hard.
this one on
It's hard.
Telestra if you want to play it.
If you're missing it on purpose, it's a line drive off the front of the rim
good
that
point.
caroms right back.
It's just they know he's not a great free throw shooter, and that's. I mean, they
No,
just
you
plan
don't.
to do it.
You're crashing because God forbid he misses. But I
Right.
mean, look at this ball.
I mean, that was such a smart play.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna replay like 3 times here.
Yeah, Donovan was. You could tell he's got nothing left there.
Well, he tries to grab his jersey.
Right,
and misses.
because he couldn't stay with him
misses.
physically.
It was
at that
technically
point.
a lane violation. They're not going to call it there. I don't want to hear
right.
anyone complain.
I-
But the way this caroms off the glass or
Yeah.
off the rim, right into where Neesmith happens to be charging.
Yeah,
It's a 1 in a
that was
1,000 chance.
That was an
Like,
amazing play.
Look how this hits the rim. Usually you miss a free throw, it ricochets off the rim.
Right.
4,
It was-
5,
it
6
went to
out.
the- I know.
It just sits there.
And
it's
it
an
just
incredible-
came off enough for it to not be
an incredibly
goaltending or
unlucky break.
basket interference.
It's a great play by Neesmith.
By the way, I know you're saying it's not an excuse. I don't want to hear about a lane violation. There's probably 32. There's probably a million lane violations on every free throw. Nobody's paying attention to it.
Well, if you want to laugh at something real
Yeah.
quick, this is Steve. Take Teleshirt again. So this is clearly a lane violation, right?
Yeah,
So is this.
and so is that.
So is this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so is this. It's a lane.
Everybody's a lane.
So that's what I'm saying. People complaining about it.
Yeah, it's just
You're right.
ridiculous.
It was a lane violation.
Yeah.
It 100% was, but it also technically was on Okoro and Jared Allen here.
Yeah.
On Max Strus here. On Ty Jerome
So
here.
every Cavs player besides Donovan Mitchell committed
And
a
if you
lane
really
violation.
want to get crazy, Donovan's foot's over the line. technically. So, like you're right. It is a lane violation, but I just don't want to hear people.
Yeah, those are. I mean, that happens all the time. I'm
No.
sure. Nobody's.
And you
looking
can
at
see
that.
in this still shot, Donovan's grabbing Neesmith, which is also, if you really want to get technical, a foul.
Yeah. And he got fouled on the dunk, didn't
It's
he?
an incredibly athletic,
Yeah. That was an
coordinated
amazing play.
And you couldn't like the Pacers could try that 100 more times,
Yeah, right.
and it ain't gonna happen like that. Like you can see it again here. It's just an incredible unlucky play or an incredibly lucky play
Yeah.
for Indiana, but it happens to go to the perfect spot as he's flying in.
And he got fouled on that dunk, I thought,
Wow.
which they didn't call.
Yeah.
Well,
It sucks
watch this.
for the Cavs.
Strus fouls him. Or not Strus. Who's behind? Oh, Donovan. Donovan actually fouled him twice, I think.
I think that's more of just the result of the
Poor
I don't think
Donovan.
he fouled him on the.
You know what? If they had won this game, we would have been spending the last 20 minutes talking about this Donovan performance.
Hero performance.
I mean, he was unreal. He was unreal.
On a
especially when
bad
he get into
calf.
three.
On a bad calf.
Bad calf. Doesn't he have 2 injuries?
It's a calf ankle lower leg combo.
I mean,
I don't know the severity of it. Again, Mike and I were talking about
Yeah.
this morning. I don't know the severity of the calf. If anyone should be sitting, it's probably Donovan, because calf injuries can lead to far worse.
Yeah.
right.
It can lead to Achilles.
Well, my Achilles tear, obviously he's a great athlete, I'm not, but body's a body, I guess, at some level. My torn Achilles started with a calf injury.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Kevin
right,
Durant
right,
was
right,
a
yeah.
calf, try to come back, try to fight through, and ends up tearing his Achilles.
Gosh.
So if anyone of these guys should be sitting,
Yeah.
it's probably Donovan.
Which he's not.
And he's the
And
one
he's
that's
not.
out there.
He said he's playing Friday. You're gonna have to wheel me out of.
Who do you think's going to play Friday of the other guys?
I think Mobley, Hunt. I hope they all play. I genuinely hope they all play.
The season's on the line.
Yeah, you better. If there's any chance, you better suit up. You better be.
I mean,
in
Darius
uniform.
has gotten his 2 weeks now. Today's 2 weeks.
I thought Darius would play yesterday.
Yeah, I know you did.
I was really surprised he didn't play.
Jared Greenberg, who's coming on the show tomorrow.
Yeah.
The sideline
guy.
for TNT.
Yeah, yeah.
Said he saw Darius in game 1 after the game, and Darius told him I'm playing game 2.
The impression I got leaving the locker room after game 1 was that Darius was going to play in game 2.
Yeah.
The fact he didn't play, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Can you show the Halliburton missed free throw and then he gets his rebound and scores?
I got it ready. Yeah, Steve, you want to take Taylor?
I'd like to see that one.
So this is a showing and upstairs. Another crazy circumstance where three players, Donovan, Turner, and Allen, are all going to make contact with the ball at the exact same time. And somehow, because all three of these guys don't get a full hand, they all get fingertips on it, it's going to end up in Halliburton's hands.
I put this on Jarrett, and then with the way Mike played it, it's almost on Donovan for interfering, but you're not going to tell a guy don't go for a rebound.
Right.
And
But I still say Jarrett's got to come up with this ball.
well, here's the other thing.
Yeah.
You don't see Ty Jerome in the picture. Ty Jerome's technically out in this area.
Who's the fifth player?
Jerome, who's out here.
No, but that's 4. Who's the fifth?
That's 5.
That's Sam Merrill's 5.
Oh, I'm
That's 2.
sorry. Okay. I got you.
Jerome,
Okay.
his assignment is Halliburton. If anyone is actually at fault, I hate to put another thing on Ty, it's on Ty. When we play this through, you'll see what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm going to pause this at the apex.
He's supposed to, the second the ball is shot, run and pick up Halliburton.
And he'll come in, he just doesn't get Halliburton. I'm going to pause this at the apex to show you guys something. So as this goes through.
He kind of lazily jogged towards Halliburton.
That's fine. He's in the right spot at this point. I was here. Let me try. I'm a little too far. Let me try to pause this at the exact moment I want to pause it. It's close enough. I wish I could zoom in on this. I can't zoom in. Yeah. You can see if you really zoom in. Mitchell goes up with one hand. That's his arm. That's the white arm sleeve you see. Here's Jared Allen's 2 hands, and that's Miles' hands. All 3 hands hit the ball at the exact same time. Donovan's going up with one hand to try and grab a rebound. He grabbed 2 one-handed rebounds in the game. Allen actually does a relatively good job of playing again, boxing out Miles Turner, has him on his back. Like that's real contact.
Yeah.
He gets a little pushed in, but that's fair. That's fair game in the playoffs. And the ball ends up, because all 3 hit it at the same time.
You know,
falling
he
to
had
Halliburton.
he boxed out Miles Turner, but then he got pushed.
No one gets a hand on it is the issue.
I know.
They all get a finger on
But
it.
to Jason's point, you said you blame Jared Allen.
Jarrett's got to come up with that.
Like he's got him boxed out. You can't let him push you in closer to the basket.
Well, I'm curious if Donovan doesn't touch this.
Right.
Does Jared grab it?
Why don't you run it through the whole time?
If Jared doesn't touch it, does Donovan grab it?
It's
Do they almost counteract where they're going?
And again,
Here it is. I got it at the perfect point. Steve, can you try to zoom in on this on the screen? Is that possible? Can you zoom in on that exact spot?
and you're not going to blame Donovan for being aggressive and going
No,
after him.
not at all.
But
look at that.
I do wonder if
All
Donovan,
3 hands at the exact same time touching the ball. There's Donovan, there's Miles, and behind Donovan's arm, here's one of Jared's arms. This is the other one.
I think you're right. I think no blame on Mitchell because he's going for the ball.
No blame whatsoever.
If he didn't hit it, I think there's a decent chance Jared Allen gets the ball.
I still listen. You're Jared Allen. You're 7
you gotta
feet
get
tall.
it.
You gotta get it,
You've
yeah.
got
You gotta get the
position.
ball.
You have to get the ball.
You gotta get
Period.
So unlucky, Kareem's out to Halliburton, and I'll show one last time.
Yeah.
Ty, who once again ties with Halliburton right here.
Yeah.
Go find the ball. You got to get the ball. Got to get the ball.
Can you show me that again?
There he is. Ball's going up. It's about to get Kareemed. He's in front of Halliburton right here.
Yeah.
Got to find a way to get the ball there. I know it takes an unlucky bounce, but your job is to be in front of Halliburton. Find it, and then the last play, the final shot.
Yeah. I mean, how much do you blame him for this defense?
It's a great move by Halliburton.
Yeah.
So give Halliburton
But
credit.
you can't give up a 3.
You're up 2
You can't
with 5
give
seconds.
up a
Yes,
3.
that's the issue.
If he drives to the basket and he beats you, there's help down low, and at worst, it's a tie game.
And Halliburton's left wrist was hurting him all game. He was holding it all game. Steve, take it again. Which direction is he going when he starts to drive?
To the right?
No, to the left.
Oh, I see.
Let him go. He wasn't trying to finish with his left hand through traffic. Let him go. You got him.
Right.
Don't let him get back to his right hand.
Yeah.
It's a great move by Halliburton.
And again, if he drives, great play by Halliburton.
And if he makes
he drives,
you
have help defense
if he
potentially.
drives, he's probably going to kick to the corner to a wide open shooter.
Fair.
And they were open in the corners, which I.
But isn't Halliburton the last guy you want taking a three if you're the Cavs?
You want to hear a crazy stat I saw this morning?
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah.
The final 2 minutes of games. On go-ahead or game-tying shots, Halliburton's 10 of 11 this year.
No shit.
10 of 11.
I thought you were going to shock me the other way.
No. 10 of 11 on shots in the final 2 minutes.
I can't let him take a three.
No. It's the only thing you can't let happen.
If you go through the list of 20 shots I can give up in this situation, the last thing is Halliburton 3.
Yeah.
And Ty Jerome, who just capped off what was a John Starks-esque game, for those who remember back in the day, if you know, you know, was just... Did he cost... Last thing before we move on here, guys, and we'll get back to the Cavs later. Did this one game last night cost Ty Jerome money this offseason?
Absolutely.
See, I don't think it did.
No? Mike says absolutely.
I
you
think
say no?
I think because the Cavs have no choice but to pay him. They have to pay him.
Right.
It may cost him offers from
other teams. Yeah.
But
not the Cavs. Yeah.
But ultimately,
right, but the
it's not
assumption was that
him.
some team would offer him more than the Cavs could.
Ultimately, I don't think it's going to cost him because the Cavs have no choice.
Agreed. You can't make any significant changes.
This is who they are for the next 2 years.
Right.
This is their team. They're a second apron team.
Yeah.
They're not going to make any drastic changes. This is their team. So.
But you agree that his chances of getting a big deal from somebody else may be gone.
Yeah, I mean this series has been awful.
He's been terrible
for
in these
him.
2 games.
I think.
So you hate for 2 games to overshadow everything else.
But the playoffs overshadow everything.
It's the Sam Darnold. It's Sam Darnold.
Yeah, although he got he
got paid, and Ty
but not as much as he would have if he had played well in the playoffs.
Ty Jerome is still going to get paid, but I think that mega deal that maybe the Nets or Utah, one of those teams that actually had cap space, we're looking at him as maybe this is the point guard of the future for us.
Nope.
We'll find out, and it's part of what made Ty so good this season was the irrational confidence. He's an irrational confidence player, and I say that as a compliment.
Right. And now it's backfired.
It has completely backfired. And last night, and really the first 2 games of the series, and he was incredible against Miami, by the way. Like, almost played perfect basketball against Miami. Yeah. If you go to some of the shots that he missed last night, and Steve, I cut the highlights if you want to find him at any point. Like, he got a lot of good looks. He just was making shots.
Couldn't make a shot.
And we did the whole story. I did the whole 10-minute interview about floaters.
Yeah.
60% on floaters. The second, he's missing these ones he's made all season.
Yep.
I mean, not all these are great shots, but
it felt like he was thinking about the moment.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
All right, let's leave it there for now. Earl is particularly somber today because he is the Ty Jerome guy. And he Ty Jerome's been the man all year, and I think Earl is particularly down because Ty Jerome sucked.
No, it a bad game for Ty. Those things happen.
All right, Earl, what you got?
Bull, before we talk about the Cleveland Guardians, tell us about MenuRx.
Well, I'd love to tell you about MenuRx. I spoke to my guy, Dr. Jake May, this morning. We were chatting about my weight loss. I dropped a pound this week. It may not look like it to some people, and obviously I got a long way to go. I have battled with obesity for most of my adult life in the last 30 years, and I'm sure there's many of you out there that are dealing with the same thing. Dr. Jake May and the MenuRx team are here to help. It's not a big box store with one size fits all. It's a specific program tailored to your needs, your wants, whether you're trying to lose weight, just get in better shape, build muscle. You'll work with nutritionists and scientists, people that study this. Jake gets excited talking about nutrition and stuff. Like, who gets excited about that? I don't. It's depressing to me. But Jake makes me feel better about it because he gets excited about it. He gets in the weeds about it. It's someone to talk to. It's someone to help you develop an individual plan for your needs. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, MenuRx will help you reach your goals. Go to menu-rx.com to get your consultation today. That's menu-rx.com. Guys, Guardians with a doubleheader yesterday. First game was a wild one. It looked like the Guardians were going to lose. Then they score. What did they score? 6.
6.
Right. They scored. They had a 6 spot. They go up 9-6. Right? Was that what it was? 9-6. I can't remember now.
Cade Smith had his worst outing.
And then
maybe
Cade
ever.
Smith gets blown up. They give up 4 runs in the 8th. And the Nationals come back to win the first game of the doubleheader 10-9. The nightcap was a good one. Ben Lively now with a couple of good starts in a row. And the Guardians get a Carlos Santana home run, a Daniel Schneemann home run, an Austin Hedges home run.
Is that the most unlikely trio of home run hitters in the same game?
Right now,
in
yeah.
recent
Well,
days?
I guess
Schneemann, Hedges, and who?
Santana.
And Santana.
Santana.
You could have Rocchio.
Yeah,
you
Rocchio
know,
would be-
I made Rocchio stat
Rocchio got a
this morning.
stolen base in the game, though, I think, if I remember correctly. And the Guardians won the second game. Was it 10-1? I think it was 10-1.
9-1.
9-1.
No, they lost 10-9 and then won 9-1. They scored 18 runs
Okay.
in 2 games, I think.
Yeah. So I said it'd be a doubleheader split.
You were right.
And I was right. I said they'd lose the first and win the second. And there you go. So 21-15. It was good to see Nolan Jones hit a home run in the first game of the doubleheader.
Bomb. Big bomb.
Yes. We need that. They need him to be a 25 home run guy.
The numbers on the page say his numbers should be a lot better than what they are.
I believe in him. I think he can come around. By the way, some of these other teams in the Central, they got off to bad starts. Royals are playing better. Twins are playing. People wrote off the Twins because the first week or two they were horrible. Well, look at them now. They're only a couple. Can you guys put the standing? Yeah. Twins are only 4 games under 500.
I'm not a believer.
I'm not either, but they're not terrible, Jason, is all I'm saying.
Are you writing Chicago off?
They're not the White Sox. They're not White Sox bad.
The White Sox have actually been more competitive than I thought they would be, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh, yeah. The Rockies.
Yeah, that's all time.
The Rockies, I believe, are 1-17 on the road this year.
Now, Chicago,
I heard someone.
Yeah.
He was on our show.
Who?
The guy from DNVR who said the owners of the Rockies like the fact that they have a giant bar. They don't care about baseball. They just have a
Yeah, I
giant
mean,
bar.
they're that franchise. That's one of the worst franchises in sports. But so there you go, doubleheader split. Ortiz did not pitch well in the first game, and that guy's
Can I ask a question real quick?
yeah.
Is it crazy that I have almost more faith in Ben Lively to just give me, and maybe it's expectations.
Yeah.
I feel more confident I know what Ben Lively's going to give me on a night-to-night basis than any other starter in the Guardians rotation right now.
Unfortunately, that's pretty fair because you don't expect him to pitch great. You expect him to be kind of okay, and he's usually okay.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time.
I'd still put more faith in Bybee. Bybee hasn't been...
No, but what he said is that I know what Lively's going to do.
I think I know what Tanner Bybee's going to do. He's going to
at
go...
the moment,
He's going to go 5 2/3. He's going to keep you in the game. He's going to give up
but
2
he's
runs.
been more inconsistent this year than he was last year.
He's going to go 5 2/3. He's going to walk a couple guys. He's going to give up 2 runs. He's going to strike out 3 or 4. That's
Here's
who
the
he
thing,
is.
though.
That's what he's been this year.
For all the talk, and I don't think Lively or Logan Allen are that good.
No.
Right? And I think Ortiz has talent, but he's still learning how to pitch. But the reality is, they're the 3rd, 4th, and 5th starters on this team.
Yes.
Those guys have pitched well enough in their roles.
Yeah.
They've all been okay to varying degrees. Their 1 and 2 starters have not been good enough. Especially their 2, because Gavin Williams
has been the biggest disappointment on the
a huge
staff.
disappointment.
Yeah.
But you look at the pitching staff, and what's funny is their biggest disappointments have been Gavin Williams, Bybee to a lesser degree, but still, and Clase. And now Clase seems to be rounding into form.
Pitching a lot better lately.
Been better lately. I'm not even going to say Cade Smith, because Cade Smith,
Everybody gets blown up at some point.
it's going to happen once in a while.
I didn't see anything
Everybody
yesterday that
else
was
is doing their job. Cade Smith's been great outside of yesterday. Hunter Gaddis has been great. Tim Herron's been very good. The 3, 4, and 5 starters are doing basically what you need them to
Junis
do.
has been pretty good too.
Who?
Jacob Junis.
Junis.
Oh, Junis. He's
really good at the pen. Yeah.
He's been good.
He is what he is. He's
right.
a veteran.
Exactly. Everybody. The only guys that are not pitching as well as you expected are Clase, Bybee, and Gavin Williams. That's it. Everybody else is doing what you expected, or better with some of those relief pitchers. Because as you've said a couple times, Jason, and I agree, we all expected Hunter Gaddis to have regression, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
Not to this point, and we still got a long way to go. But
Yeah.
so Anyway, go ahead, Mike. What do you want to say?
No, I was just asking if where you put Paul Sewald in that.
Well,
he's been a disappointment.
He's been bad, but he's hurt now. So
yeah, I was just curious if that.
Yeah, no, he's been terrible.
It's 2 years in a row they tried a $7 million reliever.
Yeah,
and it hasn't worked.
I thought I had more faith in Sewald.
I did too,
because he had been pretty good.
Maybe he'd been fighting an injury longer than we know.
Yeah.
And they finally shut him down.
Yeah,
I will say.
Yeah.
And granted,
they're playing in, I think, 20 minutes, right? Don't they play at noon
today? They do have an afternoon game. I don't know if it's noon or 1, but they do have an afternoon
I think
game.
it might be 12.
Maybe 12?
It's like
12:05. There you go. Shout out to the TV.
I believe Quan's DHing today.
But no, about the offense, and I understand some of the guys that they got contributions from yesterday. You can't anticipate every night those guys chipping in, but to see the Guardians score 19, 18, whatever the number
19
was.
runs in one day.
19 runs in one day.
They're good to Father's Day now.
It's very good to see. I mean, I understand that some of it is hit or miss. That they had that big 6-run inning in game one.
No, it was 18 runs.
It was 9-9.
They scored 9 in both games.
Yeah, 18 runs.
Yeah.
But in the 6th inning, when they had the 6 runs in game one, it was a double, an infield single. Like it wasn't like they were mashing home runs, but just to see them put together some consecutive bats, put some crooked numbers on the board, hopefully build some confidence as they get into some more difficult competition, some better pitchers coming up here.
The Guardians scored 16 of their 18 runs yesterday in the 6th inning or later in the 2 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Which is...
So they're doing it against bullpens.
Yeah, doing it against bullpens. Now, Nats bullpen isn't particularly great, but...
Still, hey, well, you're the Guardians, take runs however you get the runs. I don't care how they do it. They need them all.
The patience in Gabby Arias is paying off big time. He looks
producing.
He looks like he's not going anywhere now.
Yeah,
and
so
this was his last chance.
Does that hurt your soul?
No, I was a big Arias guy at one time. I mean, the funny, like Tyvus and the 17 home runs, hurts a little bit because I'd been on Arias for a couple of years. I really liked him.
Well,
I thought he was.
It's a reminder that some guys take longer. It's not uncommon in baseball.
So how do you? Okay, I want to ask about this though, because you guys know way better than I do. They've given Arias a ton of opportunities. He's finally making the most of it. And I mean, he's Rocchio as a counterpoint, but
right.
You could be a million other players. Rocchio had a great postseason, has now regressed
Yeah.
below anywhere he's ever been. I mean, his OPS,
Right.
his stats, like, I have to make the stat graphic every morning. They're tough to make. How much time do you give a guy before you give up, as opposed to making sure you have a full evaluation before moving on?
That's not an easy question to answer because it's dependent on if someone else takes the job while you're
so
waiting.
many factors.
It depends on your 40-man roster.
That's right.
It depends on options, how many options they have left. So it's not. There's no cut and dried answer to it. Part of the reason Arias got another chance is because Rocchio never really took hold of the job. He had a pretty miserable year last year. Had a great postseason. I was optimistic that I thought he could use that as fuel and maybe this would be his breakout year. And it hasn't happened. And as a result of that, it's given Arias another crack in the door to be able to get back in. Had Rocchio run with the job, Arias probably would have been traded by this point. But second, no one really grabbed second base. They seem to be holding it for Bazana, but Bazana's got to get going.
Yeah, he's not hitting well right now.
Shortstop's been wide open. They're trying these guys in the outfield because no one else has taken hold of the job. So there's no simple answer to you only get this much time. I mean, Nolan Jones, I've used this example before, but Nolan is a great example with, I forgot his name last time I tried to do this too, the first baseman from the Braves that they gave up on that got time after, Jake Bauers.
Oh, yeah, right.
Jake Bauers was here way too long.
Yeah. He's still in the big leagues.
But Bauers, they were a little gun shy because a guy like Gio Urshela, who they had given up on, and then goes and has success elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the Guardians very much believe we can't develop guys for other teams. The way that they are built, the way that they operate, if we invest all of these years into these guys, we have to get a return on that. We can't develop them and then watch them go have success for other teams. So Jake Bauers got opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity that he probably didn't earn and didn't deserve, but there wasn't a 40-man crunch at the time. They were They wanted to make sure that they knew what they knew. And then a guy like Nolan Jones comes along, and there is a little bit more of a 40-man roster crunch. You got to make a faster decision on him. They move on from him faster.
They never really gave him a chance.
They never really gave him a chance. And then it winds up, they regret that, and then they rectify that this year and bring him back.
Yeah.
So there's really no easy answer to that. There's so many factors that go into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complicated question. It depends what the organization feels about this. In addition to what Jason said, which is a lot, it depends what the organization down deep feels about the specific player. If their ultimate evaluation of Gabriel Arias is higher than Brian Rocchio, well, you're going to give Gabriel Arias, all things being equal, all other things being equal, you can give him more of an opportunity to turn it around. I'm still not completely sold on Arias. There's still numbers that are concerning when it comes to his strikeout rate and just the way he swings and misses so often. But, I mean, it's really promising. We're now, 6 weeks into the season at this point? I mean, we're at the what's the Guardians' record? 21-15?
There's 35 games,
36 games in. So we're almost at the quarter pole of the season, basically. Yeah, 36 games. So 4 more games and we're at the quarter pole of the season. So, once you get to the quarter pole, it starts feeling like the stats are legit.
Memorial Day is when you can start making, I feel like, is when you can start making estimates on who are you, where are you at. That's when things start to become a little bit more tangible, a little bit more real.
So with Rocchio then,
yeah,
obviously the postseason success was there last year. He has some built-in cachet, for lack of a better word, with the organization.
I don't think he does.
How much more of a leash does he get? Is it simply a waiting game till Bazana's ready, and then you slide Arias over?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, again, I'm not in the long term, I don't believe in Daniel Schneemann as anything more than a bench player.
No.
But he's been so hot lately, and their lineup's so flawed, I have to play him every day at the moment. Mm-hmm. Until he cools down, I'm not taking him out of the lineup, so I have no reason to play Brian Rocchio right now. Plus, Lane Thomas is going to come back soon, and I know he got off to a bad start. But in terms of what they've proven in the big leagues, Lane Thomas is near the top of their list. So he's going to play. I got to play him when he comes back. So that's going to, indirectly with Angel Martinez and guys who have position flexibility, that's going to affect Rocchio too. I wonder if they send Rocchio down when Lane Thomas comes back.
I was going to say that. I don't know if that's when it happens, but he could easily. I don't know. I believe he's got options left. I don't think he's out of options. And I don't think Bazana plays into the equation right now. I did think that there was a chance he could be up June, July.
I mean, those numbers are tough.
Oh, it's awful.
They'll probably send John Kenzie down when Lane Thomas comes back, maybe.
Probably.
But if not, it's going to be Rocchio.
It's not out of the question that Rocchio would get optioned at some point during the season, depending on circumstance. And if Arias continues to hit, he came up as a shortstop. He could easily be the everyday shortstop. But I thought at one point Bazana could be up by June or July.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen at this point. He's going to have to get really, really hot, really, really fast.
Which is certainly possible.
It is. But then also, if they figure it out this year, you can kick the can down the road to next year and save another year in arbitration.
So his OPS
on his contract.
His OPS is 740 at Akron right now. I don't that's probably slightly above league average, but not too much.
You want to see that.
Yeah, he should be dominating at Double-A.
He's 22, 23 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got a 240 batting average, which is not good. 336 on base, not good. A 404 slugging, that's fine, but it's not amazing. He's got 3 homers, 16 ribbies, and 104 trips to the plate.
And it is different, real quick. It's different that he was a college kid as opposed to a high school. High school kid going through Double-A. He's still on the younger.
If he was a high school kid, he wouldn't be in Double-A.
Well,
yet,
but I'm saying straight at it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. He's kind of old for Double-A, really, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
given his experience. So Double-A is a fine jumping off point. The Royals drafted a guy really high this year,
Caglione, and he's kicking ass.
And they started him in Double-A. The A's drafted a big power time first baseman. He's already in the majors.
Yeah.
They started him in Triple-A, and now he's in the majors.
His name is going to get a lot of people in trouble.
Nick Kurtz? Oh yeah, I see what you
say. I saw legitimately the Athletics broadcasting crew
supposed to pause between the first name and the last.
Take a deep breath between the.
It took me. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with Kurtz? I got you now. So I mean, very well maybe next year before Bazan is up, which kind of throws a wrinkle into.
So who's the next guy they bring up then? Next prospect to bring? Is it? I know Delato's hurt.
You know who's playing well is Kafis.
Kafis, CJ.
Yeah.
DeLauder's starting to ramp back up.
Right, but they're going
to... he's not next. But I'm just mentioning him as someone who's making progress in rehab. I think that they would... The plan at one time, they wanted to get him in a routine. There's nothing else for him really to do in the minors. He needs to get to the majors. Yeah.
DeLauder.
But DeLauder has to play every day. Okay. He has to get in the routine of playing 5-6 days a week. And he's had so many injuries, he hasn't been able to do that. So if he gets a month of at-bats... In AAA, he could be up at some point this summer, but he's got to get healthy.
How's Rafi Velasquez doing?
I haven't even looked.
I haven't seen anything, but listen, Kafis has a 1,066 OPS at Akron.
That's really
He's hitting
good.
364 with a 475 on base.
Yeah,
I mean, that's ridiculous.
He's a corner outfielder, first baseman, right?
Yes, he has 80 plate appearances in Double-A. He's got 24 hits and 14 walks, 4 doubles, 4 triples, 1 homer, 11 ribbies, 2 steals. So this guy's been now again, it's Double-A, it's not the majors,
Right.
but and they have a glut, of corner outfielder types. But if he were a middle infielder, maybe he'd be up already. The way he's played. But
The Yankees just called up a 19-year-old shortstop.
Jorbit Vivas?
Is that who it was?
No.
No, they promoted Lombard.
Lombard, that's who
But
it is.
he's
But he's on the major.
no, he's not in the majors.
No.
I thought
No.
I read the Jeff Passan tweet wrong.
Yeah.
I was saying because he was 19, I was like, oh, maybe
No.
other
Yeah.
teams are getting more
He's only
fast-tracking guys.
That is happening.
Oh, yeah, certain teams, yeah. Even small market teams, because the A's called up Kurtz already.
Yeah.
You
They are. You guys are getting rushed. It's
I
not
don't know that
anymore.
it's rushed.
Well, but it used to
yeah.
be you spend an entire year at Double-A and then you spend an entire year at Triple-A, and that's really not the case anymore.
No,
If you get a month or two, I mean, the Rangers have a 19-year-old who will probably be on the opening day roster next year at 20, if not.
Evan Carter.
If you're a top prospect and you dominate Double-A, you often go right to the majors.
You
from
can.
there.
You can. Manny Machado did that. He skipped Triple-A.
Yep. All right. We started with the Cavs. We went to the Guardians. Now let's talk. Of course, with the Browns, it's always depressing news. Another arrest involving the Browns.
Yeah, this next segment is brought to you by Skylight. Say goodbye to sticky notes, scribble plans on the fridge, and overlapping calendar invites. The Skylight calendar is here to bring clarity to the chaos and help families stay organized with the stress. The sleek digital display syncs with your existing calendars, Google, Apple, Outlook, and more, making it simple to track appointments, practices, dinners, and reminders all in one easy-to-see place. I use it for me and my children. Everybody has their own color code, so everybody knows exactly what they need to do. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/NFL. Go to skylightcal.com/NFL for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/NFL.
Guys, this is becoming a routine story with the Browns, a player in trouble. Linebacker Devin Bush, who the Browns picked up off the scrap heap last year, they re-signed him this season, has been charged with simple assault. I don't know why they call it simple assault. According to a police report, a woman who identified herself as Bush's girlfriend says Bush assaulted her and took her keys. The two got into an argument that resulted in Bush allegedly becoming more aggressive. According to the complaint, as the woman began to record the argument on her cell phone, Bush chased her around the home in an attempt to get the phone. She said she was pinned against a massage table in an office and that Bush put his full body weight on top of her before taking the phone and smashing it. The woman left with her daughter to a neighbor's home. According to the complaint, police discovered cuts on the inside of the girlfriend's wrist and outside her right foot, as well as smashed pieces of the cell phone. Bush admitted to smashing the phone but denied getting physical. Preliminary hearing scheduled Allegheny Court on May 20th. I'm not interested in. I'd cut Devin Bush if I would just cut him. What are we doing here?
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do that.
I'm so sick of this.
They didn't do it with Mike Hall. The Mike Hall stuff was the allegations were way heavier than this.
Teams just don't care. I know nobody cares. I know there's all kinds of terrible things going on in the world.
I don't want to
Yeah.
minimize what happened. That probably
Yeah.
came out wrong the way I said that, but
Yeah.
those allegations against Mike Hall were gruesome at first.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, some of it got retracted. You can argue why that was.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into the logistics of that. Yeah. But
If this happened, then just move on. But the teams don't care. And for years, I was just like, I felt this way. Like, I don't want to deal with guys like this. And then I stopped doing that. And I was like, all right, whatever. Nobody's a choir boy. Our politicians are all crooked. These people are all crooked. Why do we only have to care about athletes? And so I got over that. And now I'm sick of it again because the Browns keep taking guys like this, and it hasn't led to winning. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if Devin Bush did it, he's not a good enough player. The juice ain't worth the squeeze with him, so I'd cut him. But whatever. Go ahead.
It's hard to contextualize what happened versus like in the football perspective and where the line should be drawn in the sand. They just drafted Schlesinger. I like the Abate. They brought Jordan Hicks back, right? Like Jordan Hicks is still around. Correct?
Now.
I think so.
JOK may or may not be there.
Yeah.
Like Devin Bush, maybe their fourth linebacker this year, like third, fourth. I'm just not putting up with that for a second string, like a special teamer on a team that has a projected win total of 4.5 wins.
Just don't put your hands on women. What is wrong with people?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know. I mean, again, we want to make sure the story's true as best you can, but I'm sure the police know what the truth is or have a pretty good idea of what the truth is in this situation.
He admitted to smashing the phone, so
yeah. I don't know. Everybody's all uptight about this conversation. It's tough. You never know what to do. Should it matter? It's when there's shitty people in all walks of life and they don't get punished for these things. But maybe we should be better. Maybe instead of saying, well, we shouldn't punish these guys because nobody else gets punished, maybe instead we should go the opposite and say, hey, let's start punishing people more for who do horrible things. But
this happens.
It's a complicated subject.
Across all teams, across all sports, there is no easy solution. But I just hope she's okay.
Yeah, the leagues don't care, the teams don't care, and fans don't care. Most fans don't care. The only reason fans were up in arms about Deshaun Watson is because he sucked. If he had played great, most fans wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, it's true.
Some do, certainly. Some. I don't want to put everybody in the same boat. But most people don't care.
Yeah, a lot of people, with Deshaun, a lot of people walked away right away.
Yes, but I bet you most of them would have come back if he had played great. We'll never know because he's not a football player, and he will never be a football player again.
Earl, what would you do on this one?
That's a good question. I think for me, when I looked at this yesterday, if the Browns cut him, there's like a dead cap of $2.69 million if they cut him before June 1st. He just signed a 1-year, $3.25 million deal. Jason is right. They have seen worse, and they didn't release a player before. I think the Browns need to have some type of internal program in place, no matter what the NFL does, that if a player finds himself in this situation, there's consequences to his actions. I don't even really think it should be just singled down into just women. I know when this came out, I don't know which show I was watching, but somebody said something along the lines of, we don't have much information, but if it was a dude, no big deal.
That's what I said. Well,
so that was you?
Yes, because let me clarify.
Let me finish my point because somebody asked me, what would I do? I think a lot of times in the NFL, people want to pick and choose to what they want to have their morale code on a heightened level about. Like, wrong is wrong, assault is assault. You can't just have this energy because it's towards women. You have to have the same energy across the board, and that's a part of the problem why we keep running into these issues.
So, you're right. I should have been more. I should have clarified when I said that. Obviously, assault's assault. If he assaulted a guy, it should be. I'd cut him too. My point was when I said it, and I didn't clarify it, so that was a bad job out of me. What I meant by saying if it was just a fight with another guy, like if he got into a fight with another guy, which happens amongst young men sometimes, if that was, sometimes these things happen amongst guys. That's different than just whatever. He saw a guy on the street, somebody said something to him, so he started beating him up. There's some nuance there. There's no nuance to me when it comes to a woman. It's a different story. So that's how I feel about it. But yes, assault's assault. But there's also, and many of us have been there. You're a young person, and not that he's that young, but I got into fights when I was a teenager. I got into fights in my early 20s. These things happen sometimes with young people. We make stupid decisions. That's different than smashing your girlfriend allegedly against the wall, and there's a big difference there. So, but I should have clarified better. And you're right, Earl. Ultimately, if it's assault, it's assault.
If the Browns do decide to cut him,
yeah,
would anyone bat an eye?
No. Who cares?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
All right, Earl.
All right. Well,
straight up at noon.
We still waiting on our guest, Ethan Sands.
Is Ethan Sands big timing us right now?
No, it's still 30 seconds before he's supposed to be on.
Ethan, I mean, what is happening here? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Well, in terms of one other thing on the Browns, rookie minicamp starts. When does
Friday.
it start?
This weekend.
Friday.
Oh, it starts Friday. Are you going, Jason?
I think I'm going Saturday. Shador's supposed to talk Saturday.
Okay. The media and I can't remember.
You can shoot
Do
the
we
whole
have much
thing.
access in rookie minicamp?
Yeah, I think so.
Sean,
They're not doing much of anything.
Sean Dunnigan told me yesterday they can actually shoot the whole thing,
Oh, really?
which they don't do a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
They can shoot. So we will have footage come Monday of Shador,
Of guys
of
in,
Mason Graham, of Dylan Gabriel, of
wearing their
Carson
red
Schlesinger.
jerseys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll have real footage of them instead of just montages in their college uniforms. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Are you ready to have the zip versus no zip conversation? Who
No.
showed more zip?
No.
Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders on a 2-yard slant route on air?
No.
It's coming, Jason, just for you.
Do it on a day I'm not here.
Now let's
off
save
Monday.
it for Jason being here.
Take off Monday then, because we're doing it Monday, whether you like it or not. The first look at Shador in a Browns jersey.
Oh man, that's exciting stuff.
Number 12.
Yeah, do you have an issue with that?
No.
Why would I have an issue with it?
He's a rookie.
They gave DeAndre Carter number 2, and Shador took number 12 instead.
Got to earn it.
He's
Doesn't matter.
He's a rookie.
They didn't give Judkins the number he wanted either.
I didn't say I had an issue with it. I'm just
Yeah.
Gabriel didn't get. Gabriel was 8, right? The only one I think who got the number he wanted was
Was Graham?
no.
tight end.
Fannin.
Fannin.
Mason Graham wanted 55, but Pochich had it.
Yeah, screw that. Pochich is a veteran. He's been here a number of years. I'm
Yeah.
not giving him my number.
Yeah.
And all final jersey numbers
Or the coach.
comes from Stefanski. He gets the
Yeah.
final say, as we learned from Joe Thomas.
I think too much is made of the numbers.
I mean, numbers are a big deal to the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They care a lot about that.
When they're
Whether we
buying-
do or not is up for
If
debate.
Michael
They
Jordan
do.
and LeBron could switch their numbers, anybody could switch their number. What was Michael's number when he came back there?
45.
45.
Did he do that just to sell things?
No, they retired his jersey.
Well, he could have unretired it.
Isn't that the reason?
I don't remember.
I may be wrong.
No,
Don't-
that can't be the reason.
I don't remember why he picked 45 or why he came back with
Was that the number his
45.
dad wanted?
I don't know. What did he wear in baseball? It wasn't 45.
I don't remember.
think. And it wasn't 23, I don't think.
I don't know.
I thought 45 was his baseball number.
Oh, was
Was
it?
it?
Maybe it was.
I remember Terry Francona was
He
his
wore
manager.
45 while playing baseball
For the Birmingham Barons.
to signify a new beginning, and it was the number he wore in high school before his older brother took it. And it was his baseball number, so that's why he wore 45.
I always thought LeBron should pick his own number. I didn't really love that he took 23 when he first came into the league.
Yeah, just be 6. Like that was his second number, just be 6.
Yeah. I mean, 6 was his
Olympic number.
Olympic number, and then obviously in Miami. But I just felt like, man, that's Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Let
be
him
your own.
Right.
Be your own legacy.
All right, we got our next guest coming up first to Read with Earl.
Yeah, before Ethan joins us, this next segment is brought to you by Buckeye State Credit Union. Today's episode is brought to you by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you are unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand that offers a wide range of products from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but there are 5 brick-and-mortar locations across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customers first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connected, simply, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head over to buckeye.org for more information. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
Let's go. Buckeye Credit Union. All right,
What up, Ethan?
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
we're doing all right, man. Well, give us your percentage chance that the Cavs will come back and win this series.
10.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
10?
I was hoping you'd be maybe more optimistic than I am, but you're not.
I'm a little higher than 10.
Why 10? Tell us why 10.
I think it's going to be difficult, right? There has only been 5 teams in NBA history to come back when down 2-0 in a series after losing the first 2 games at home. So history is not on their side, but I also think there's still true concern about the viability of DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley returning for the Cavs for the remainder of the series. And also we understand that Donovan Mitchell is not at 100% dealing with a calf strain. And I don't think you can continue to expect him to keep playing as Herculean as he has over the first 2 games of the series. He's already averaged 60 or taken 60 shots in his first 2 games and scored 81 points over those 2 games. It's been ridiculous.
No, he's been awesome. It's a shame that performance is gone to waste, Ethan. But I'm curious. I go to a lot of games, Ethan. You're in the locker room more than I am. You're at shoot-arounds, pregame. You go to some road games. How different was the vibes, for lack of a better word, in the locker room last night compared to anything else you've experienced this season with them?
Completely different. It was somber. Like, even in the regular season when this Cavs team would lose, even though we know it was only 18 times, they would be joyful still. This didn't feel like that. Like, they didn't have their TVs on. They usually are watching games in the background. Obviously, the NBA playoffs are going on. They usually have those games going on in the background. Those TVs were turned off. Like, players are giving 3, 5-word answers. It was not a good vibe going into the locker room and understanding that this team has been punched in the mouth, punched in the gut, whatever you want to say. The count for them is at 5, and they're trying to figure out if they can get back up or if they're going to stay standing or what's going to happen next.
Ethan, Mike asked me this earlier this morning, so I'm going to ask you, was this a collapse or was this a comeback?
I think this was a comeback. It felt like more of a slow leak of the things that went wrong throughout the game, right? And obviously we understood that the Cavs were playing at the Indiana Pacers pace. And I don't think that's exactly how they wanted to in the game, but it felt like what they needed to. And then in the fourth quarter, they just didn't have enough energy to maintain what they were able to do when it comes to the level of physicality, poise, focus, and that led to the turnovers that we saw in the final minute of the game that ultimately turned it. So it felt like a slow leak rather than a collapse, because minute after minute in the fourth quarter, it kept creeping in more doubt of the reality of them being able to close out the game, especially with Tyrese Halliburton, who wasn't good for a majority of the game, having 11 of his 19 points in that fourth quarter.
I didn't realize it was 11 and 19. Damn, that makes it even worse, Ethan. Thanks for bringing our mood down even further than it already was earlier. Ethan, I am curious. When you look back at this big picture, it's a game that will live in infamy in Cleveland fans and in NBA postseason history because of the nature of how it ended. But what's the one play down the stretch in that last 48 seconds where so many things went wrong for Cleveland and then simultaneously went right for Indiana? What's the one play out of that stretch that you're going to remember as, that's the one that I can't get over?
I think it's the Aaron Nesmith putback dunk off the free throw that allowed them to get back within distance, and it just jolted their offense back into what they understood it to be, right? It felt like they needed that confidence boost, and it was huge down the line, and it set up what happened afterwards, right? The turnovers from the ATOs, the Tyrese Halliburton rebound off his own free throw attempt. I think it set the tone for, hey, we're still in this and we can take this away from them, because they're not either paying attention or they just don't have the firepower or the just energy to keep up at this point. So if we can just sneak by, if we can keep up, if we can stay with it, we can take this game, even though we've been trailing for a majority of it. And that's what Kenny Atkinson was talking about after the game, saying that that's probably what stings the most about this one, is that they outplayed them for 47 minutes. Man.
No, it stings. It absolutely stings.
What's your best guess who plays in Game 3 and who sits?
I would hope everybody plays, but I think the reality of the situation is Darius Garland's been out for 2 weeks, And if he wasn't able to play in a must-win scenario in game 2, that it's still unlikely how he's going to be able to react with his toe injury. And it's more so how his game impacts that as well. Evan Mobley was gutted that he wasn't able to play in game 2. I know he's going to give it everything he can, but he's been moving very gingerly, even on the sidelines last night, getting up to try and celebrate with his teammates. He wasn't moving right. So those are the two guys that I have the most concern about going forward. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter with the dislocated thumb isn't a great sign, but I feel like there's more viability in him trying to get back, especially when they have a little bit of a break, but going into game 3 in Indiana.
You were at shoot-around yesterday, and I know we didn't see Evan, DeAndre, and DG, but Darius was on the treadmill, according to your guys' subtext, doing interval runs of some sort. I don't know how much you can see through, because I know it's kind of blocked off. I don't know how much you can see of Darius going through the treadmill workout, but how did he look? Did you get the impression, looking at him in that circumstance, in that situation, that he was going to play last night, or was he running with a limp? I wasn't there, so I'm curious what your eyes actually told you from seeing him on the treadmill in that situation.
It was telling me that he was trying to condition his body to be able to keep up with the Pacers, right? It necessarily wasn't about the injury itself. It was about trying to test whether his body would be able to withstand the toll of the physicality, the speed, all these things that the Pacers play with. It wasn't an indication to me that he was going to play. It was more so like, well, where is he at in his recovery process? Because we hadn't seen him in shoot-around. He wasn't able to go through that yesterday. And we know that his game is dictating on constant movement and twitchiness. So it really wasn't. But if we didn't see him on the court, it wasn't giving me a better indication that he was going to be able to play, especially with how just his game revolves around being at the helm of the offense.
Ethan, we've lauded Kenny Atkinson all season long. He wins Coach of the Year. We've done nothing but show him love. Jason talked about he's got to take some of the blame. I think we all agree with him. The inbounds play, just a lot of different things. And it seems like he hasn't done a particularly good job in this series. How much do you blame him for where they are right now?
I don't know if blame's the right word, but I think there were definitely adjustments that could have been made. Like in the first game, you realized that Donovan Mitchell had to do so much for the team, and they were absolutely exhausted after game 1, and still it felt like they leaned into that a little bit even heavier, especially obviously with DeAndre, Darius, and Evan being out. They shortened their rotations. They shortened their bench, and it hurt the Cavs in the long run because I feel like, and Kenny Atkinson mentioned this as a source of regret for him after last night's game, that if he would have continued to do what had gotten them to this point, that maybe Donovan, Ty, whoever was on the floor might have had a little bit more energy down the stretch to be able to pull off a little bit more of an effort, because it felt like they just got sticky, they got stagnant, and even on that ATO that you mentioned, there were players flying around, but Donovan Mitchell admitted that 1, he was cramping, and 2, he physically couldn't move to get open on that play. And that's a source of conditioning. That's a source of just being worn out from taking 30 shots, 48 points in that last game.
What do you make of Ty Jerome in this series, in particular last night?
I think he's taken too many shots, too many ill-advised shots. He's taken 34 shots, I believe it is, over the first 2 games of the series. And last night it was, I know there's the Kobe line, like if you are missing, you got to keep shooting to get out of a slump. I think they just needed him to be a creator, to help Donovan get off the ball. I don't think they needed him to be the scorer last night, especially with Sam Merrill and Max Strus shooting the way that he did. I think he tried to do a little bit too much, and it cost not only him his energy, but it also costed the team down the stretch, because Max Strus tried to lob him a ball down in the backcourt, and we saw how that panned out. So I just think Ty has made some ill-advised decisions, and it's been out of character for him. He's been a stable force, especially off the bench as a ball handler throughout the entire season. He was in the running for 6th man of the year. I think you expect him to have a bounce back, especially as well as he played in the Miami series, but you need him to be better, especially if you're not going to have 3 of your top 7 guys out there.
How hurt do you think Donovan actually is, Ethan? I know post-game last night he told us he does have a calf strain. He will play in Game 3 on Friday. He hadn't received treatment before he talked to us. And it was a gutsy, heroic performance. Obviously, not enough considering the Cavs lost. But how injured do you actually think Donovan is?
I mean, I think it honestly dates back to last year. Unfortunately for him, right? Because we know the lingering knee injury that he was dealing with going into the playoffs last year. He didn't get surgery on that. He didn't deal with, and he let it heal naturally. And the plan was basically to get him off the floor as much as possible throughout the regular season so that he could manage these injuries and be ready for the playoffs. And now the workload has increased. He really didn't have a ramp up process, especially when you know that he didn't play in the final few games of the regular season, and now he's putting all this extra exhaustion not only on his knee but on his calf. And the fact of the matter is we know how dangerous a calf injury can be and how quickly it can turn into an Achilles injury. So I do think that it's something to monitor, it's something to worry about when it comes to Donovan, but he's shown you that if there's one player on this team that you know is going to be available, that you know is going to give it their all, it's going to be him. And unless he feels like it's going to be detrimental to the next season, to his career, he's going to keep trying to push it. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing at this point.
Ethan, if they, assuming they lose this series, which obviously, as we all said, looks pretty likely right now, I'm thinking about next year already. And if there's 2 types of fans. There's some fans that they want to go to games and watch games and be entertained, and they want their team to win that day. And those fans will be fine, and they'll enjoy the season. But a lot of fans are just like, I want to win a championship, and if we can't, then, well, maybe I don't care as much. And how do you get those fans to care and pay attention to the regular season after the way this season looks like it's going and ending?
I think you show them the tape from the regular season of this year. Like, there were so many positives to come out of this. Like, 64-18 is nothing to sneeze at. Second best franchise record in history. I think when you talk about a team that is creating a new narrative for itself, separating itself from a lot of the LeBron James legacy of previous years, I think that's exactly who this team wants to be, who this team is. And unfortunately for them, it's been a cause of injuries, not having Darius to start in Game 1, not having DeAndre and Evan Mobley in Game 2. And you're not trying to make excuses, but the reality of it is you still haven't seen this team at full strength outside of the first round series in Miami against an opponent that actually could give them a fight. We look back to the Boston Celtics series last year, and we understand that the Cavs were thinking then, well, maybe if we were healthy, we could have gave them a run for our money. They're going to have those same types of questions, maybe even at a higher capacity after this series, whenever it wraps up, whether it's 4, 5, 6, or 7 games.
The problem is, though, it's 2 years in a row that you've had a lot of injuries. You got some injury-prone players. I'm going to be going into next year saying, well, even if they have a great regular season, I'm worried, guys are going to get hurt again. So, yeah, if everybody's healthy, maybe it'd be different. But if it keeps happening every year, eventually that doesn't mean anything.
I think 2 years, it shouldn't be an indictment on that. There are some players that are injury-prone, and you can make that statement. But I do think that the reality of it is you have so many high-level, high-talent players that have worked together, played together, and cultivated a relationship to the point that it's not about wins and losses in the regular season, as unfortunate as that may be to the common fan. It is about the playoffs, and they're still trying to figure out the viability of how to make themselves the best version going forward. And especially Kenny Atkinson should learn from this experience and tweak the plan that he came in with this season that felt like it was working. Obviously, the minute allocation was the biggest one, but now it feels like it's hurting them because nobody played 40 minutes last night, and the Cavs looked absolutely gassed, and we're not able to keep up with the Indiana Pacers down the stretch.
Here's what we know, Ethan. The current iteration of the Cavs can be and is a very successful regular season team? We don't know. We don't have the answer. We don't have a true definitive yes or a true definitive no on whether or not this iteration, the core 4 plus surrounding pieces, is good enough to win a championship. And we may not get
right
that
now.
answer.
They're not. That
Well,
may change. No.
If fully healthy, we don't know. I'm saying like as.
But that doesn't.
I'm looking big
All
picture,
right,
not in this exact micro or macro, whatever that is. We don't know. What I do know is they're going to play Game 3 on Friday night, regardless of whether or not they have DeAndre, Evan, and DG. Of the guys who played last night, the guys we know will be in the lineup on Friday, outside of Donovan and Jarrett, which of the role guys has to have another monster game if the Cavs are somehow going to find a way to steal Game 3 on the road?
I think you saw it in Game 2, Mike. Max Strus and Sam Merrill got to light it up.
Can you ask
somebody else?
Ethan, can you ask for more from those two, though? Like, is it possible to get more than you got? Think what they combined for, 34 points?
No. I mean, they had 9
points?
of the 11 threes.
Yeah.
9 of 11 threes made were from the hands of those two last night. So I don't think you can ask more of them. I think you have to ask more of Max down the stretch when it comes to focus and that pass that he made that could be questionable. Obviously, there's two different sides to that coin with Ty Jerome not sealing off his man. And I know we had that conversation the other day, Mike, but I think, again, you have to have somebody else hit shots, right? It can't be 9 of 11 made threes are coming from 2 players. Donovan was 1 of 7. Right? Isaac Okoro wasn't hitting shots. Dean Wade wasn't hitting shots. You need somebody else to fill in that because this Cavs team has been poor when they are shooting 30% or lower from three-point range this season. And that has continued in this series against the Indiana Pacers. So as much as they don't want to say that they live and die by the three-point shot, they live and die by the three-point shot. And they need somebody to step up humongously, especially if DeAndre, Darius, and Evan are all going to be out for Game 3 as well.
Ethan, will the Cavs ever win a championship with Donovan Mitchell?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they can. I think they can with this roster.
But do you think they will? You said they can. Will they do it? Let's go. Get on the record here.
I think they will. I think they will. It will likely have to come. It will have to come either next year or the year after, because obviously we know the stipulations of Donovan Mitchell's contract, and we also know that how the players around him are built. Right? We know Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are in extended contracts, but the players around them, as we're talking about Sam Merrill, Max Strus, and Ty Jerome, guys that are going to be or are on expiring contracts this year, it's going to be extremely important that they make something shake in the next 2 years if they want to get to a championship. And I think they have the pieces to do it. Again, it just forms, they have to be healthy to do it. And that's been the key word for every team in the playoffs, and it's no different for the Cavs.
Thank you, Ethan. We appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Ethan.
See you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Ethan thinks the Cavs will win a championship with Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to admit I'm prisoner of the moment to some degree. I don't think the Cavs are winning a championship with Donovan Mitchell. That's no knock on him at all. I'm not blaming him, but I don't think this team is going to win a championship in the next few years.
That's not a 10-second answer to that question.
Yeah, there's a lot of interweaved parts in that.
What are the interweave parts? I mean, you either think they're going to win a championship or
I think they're going to have a better chance next year because Boston's going to break up this summer.
You think so?
Yes. That's already out there.
All I know is Boston, without Porzingis, who's a really good player, won a championship last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cavs, I know they got more injuries than that now, but that was just Game 2. In Game 1, they had 1 injury. And
if you're asking, will the Cavs win a championship with Donovan Mitchell as their best player?
Yeah.
No, they won't.
Yeah. It'll be with Evan Mobley.
And that's why I'm saying this isn't a 10-second answer. If Evan Mobley continues to grow, I said I thought by the end of these playoffs, Evan Mobley would be the most dominant player on that hasn't happened.
No.
With the ankle, everything else,
Yeah.
Donovan has been carrying this team still. You can only ask guys to do what they're capable of doing, right?
Right.
Donovan is giving you everything he's got.
Yeah.
the facts remain he is an undersized guard.
That's right.
And it's hard for a guy like that to carry a team to a championship,
That's right.
which is what they are now asking him to do because of the injury situation around him, at least for this year.
We'll continue this conversation. I want to continue in a minute. Let's get Earl in with a read here.
Yeah, let's hear from FanDuel before I tell you what a former guest on this show just recently had to say about Darius Garland this morning. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get into the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Like today, Wednesday, Hump Day, FanDuel is giving you an extra 30% boost on all your bets. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Hey, boy, real quick before y'all continue this conversation, during the interview with Ethan, me and At was back here looking on social media, and Stephen A. Smith of First Take appeared on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today. Had some choice comments about Darius Garland. Just take a listen.
Darius Garland, listen, a toe injury is significant, can be very painful. I understand that. As far as I'm concerned, you got to be damn near crippled if you can't play. You got to be damn near crippled if you can't play. You got to find a way to get out there. Because last night, Nembhard and Halliburton combined for 45 points, like 19 assists, and 1 turnover. They're getting guard play in Indiana. Donovan Mitchell needs help, period. Because whether it's Ty Jerome, whether it's Strus or somebody else, I mean, listen, they're not point guards, okay? He needs some help in that backcourt. Now, you missed 4 straight games, Darius Garland. I mean, damn, you got all off season to heal. Somehow, some way, I mean, you're on the brink of elimination. I mean, you got to get out there. You got to find a way. Limp your ass out there no matter which way you got to do it. I don't give a damn, all right? Find a way. Find a way. Pad the toe, wear an extra size shoe. Do something. But you got to get out there. You got to get out there. Darius Garland.
Well, what do you think, guys?
I mean, I opened our YouTube show, our Cavs podcast this morning saying the number one thing I was shocked by was that Darius didn't play last night. And we haven't spent a ton of time talking about it on this show, and that's fine. I wrote about it last night after the game.
Did he say he was going to play?
No.
No. The Cavs keep just calling it questionable.
The impression was that he was
I
going to
left
play.
the locker room after game 1 believing he was playing in game 2. Now, for whatever reason, he didn't play.
If you ask Donovan Mitchell, and there's no way to know this for sure, if you ask Donovan Mitchell, and he was totally honest with you, should Darius be playing right now? What do you think he would say?
Yeah.
So
I think most players would say yeah.
I think we're always a little nervous to talk about a guy playing through injury when it's not our body. But
I got texts last night from NFL and NBA guys saying, I can't believe those guys aren't playing. That's all I can tell you. I don't know their pain level. I don't know the pain that they're in. I don't know. All I know is and other teams in the league and in other sports are looking at that and saying, I can't believe they're not. None of those guys can play. Are you serious? None of them?
Doesn't that go into this whole Cavs are soft thing?
It's part of it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe this team's ever going to win a championship, because they're soft. I think they're soft.
Well, you're soft until you're not.
Okay. Well, what leads you to believe they're not going to be soft anymore?
Getting tired of being called soft and getting pushed around.
But they've been getting called soft for 3 years.
And maybe year 4 is when it. I don't know. Yeah. Why did it take Gabby Arias 5 years to figure out how to hit a curveball in the majors? There's just no.
Well, it's not 5 years, but
close to it. But it's
yeah.
It clicks for different guys at different times.
Yeah. And
do you think the Cavs are going to win a championship in the next few years?
I thought they were one of the 4 teams this year that could win a championship.
That's not what I'm asking.
So yeah, so my answer is yes.
You think they're going to win a championship? No, not can they. Will they win a championship? Stop with the can they's.
Hold on a sec. Bo asked, "Do you believe they can win a championship?" And I said, "Yes, I believe they can." So you asked a shitty question, Bo, and I give you a shitty answer.
I will re-ask the question.
Ask me again.
Will the Cavs win a championship in the next few years? Yes or no?
Because few is an ambiguous term. Ask a better but that's a better question. Woo! I'm sorry.
In the next 5 years.
Yes.
You really believe that? Or
I do.
You want to believe that?
I more want to believe it than truly believe it, but I actually do think they can win a championship. I genuinely believe that if Evan Mobley ascends, to Jason's point, to a level above where Donovan is right now, they could have 2 of the top 15 players in the league and win a championship, yes.
But isn't he close to a top 15 player already?
Yeah,
Evan?
but if he takes that...
Listen, close to top 15 and being top 5 is a
Yeah.
massive gap.
Explain to me what he's got to be. Like, give me, what does he got to be? He's got to be a 25-point-a-games guy?
He has to be a guy who, I understand he was out last night.
Yeah.
That's last night's game. He's got to play 42 minutes. He's got
Yes.
to give you 33 points and 18 rebounds,
Yes.
and he has to carry the team to a win.
Yes.
That's what he has to do.
You think
Yes.
he could be that good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
And,
Now,
and,
last night, he was one of the guys that was out.
and real quick, not just us who think that. Ask guys around the league.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I think.
Ask they all like this is the worst Evan Mobley's ever going to be.
Yeah.
But maybe not ever. Eventually, he's going to get old and die.
I just
but
don't. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, and you guys have been right about Mobley as he's continued to get better. So I'm going to believe you when you say he's going to keep getting better and better. I'm with you. I just don't know ultimately that the rest of the team around them is good enough for them to win a championship.
Can I tell you what has to click?
Yeah.
If he is what I said, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I go. But what I think he needs to get in his corner, his circle.
Yeah.
Evan got more vocal this year.
Yeah.
More aggressive. More demonstrative.
Right. There's still times where he's passive.
I still
there are
think
still
he needs
times.
someone in his ear, and Tristan's done an incredible job. And I
Yeah.
think one guy can maybe only get you, you need another. Maybe it's a Marcus Morris type. So, just turn him into an absolute pit bull. Like he went from being, and I'm not good with dog breeds, so I'm going to mess this up, so please help me. But
Yeah.
He was a golden doodle.
he was a golden doodle. This year he was like what's a mid-level aggressive dog, and not a bad
German
way, but-
I
Shepherd.
don't think it's
No.
mid-level.
Yeah, I think that's.
He ain't even that level
But you
yet.
get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
he gets that one more, where it's not just I block a shot, I go coast to coast dunk on you. I'm gonna stand in your face and I'm gonna
Right.
talk like
There
like
are moments-
That's that level, and I think with the whole Cavs team bowl, when you talk
Yeah.
about they're soft, the first quarter of last night's game, they were not soft. And I know you like being there in person. Dean Wade bodied the crap out of Siakam.
Mike-
and these guys. But if you have your best
Dean
player,
Wade
no,
can't play in a big spot.
I know, but when your best player, if it's
Yeah.
Evan Mobley, develops that, it then trickles down.
Yeah.
And Donovan got as much out of those guys last night from playing tough and physical as he possibly could have. But they wore down. And I thought Ethan made a really good point. Playing at the Pacers' pace for 36, 37 minutes is also not the exact equivalent to playing regular season
I don't know.
against other teams.
It sounds like
I'm not
an awful
giving an
lot of
excuse.
excuses.
The Cavs,
You
have,
are.
played, the Cavs
You
have
are.
played fast all year. They've played faster. I
Yeah.
don't know what the pace
But
number
those
is for
guys,
this
those
series.
guys don't necessarily though. When Maryland Wade come in, like that's not necessarily what they're doing.
The team shouldn't fall apart with injuries.
Yeah, listen, they
I mean, these are pretty
Collapse.
significant guys they're
Well,
missing.
then get them on the court. Let's go.
we're all saying the same thing. Darius
I mean,
should've-
yeah, Hunter's got a dislocated thumb.
It's
on his shooting
It's
hand.
on his shooting hand.
Tape it up. Let's go.
I mean, I was shocked that all three of them sat. I was stunned that Darius missed.
What did we say on the show yesterday? When you asked me, I'm sitting back there. I
don't
thought 2 or 3 were going to play. I didn't
Yeah.
think Evan. I didn't think had any chance to play. We had the whole sprained ankle 48-hour conversation. I thought the other 2 were going to play. I was disappointed they didn't.
How many times has Evan sprained his ankles? That's a concern.
Yeah.
He's constantly got because he's skin and bone.
you always worry about that with
He's
these skinny big guys.
He's constantly. I don't.
Gotta
I mean,
fatten him up a little bit.
I don't know. I probably should look this up.
Does MenuRx do the opposite?
Yeah, right.
I feel like he's had ankles.
I'll look. I'm sure we
Yeah.
can find it.
He's had ankle issues in the past.
And I get it. We've all, done this whole song and dance about how toe injuries
It's just
hurt,
I
but-
just can't believe that. Like, how are we back here? We just went through this last year with
I
Jared
know.
Allen. We
Sucks.
just went through this with Jared.
What-
And we
this
wrote
sucks.
we wrote the story at the end of the year about the shot and all that.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get back into that. I don't even want to. But yet here we are, back in the playoffs, second round, again talking about a key piece of this team who's missed significant time with an injury, and I told you, I've got guys from the NBA and NFL saying, I can't believe these guys aren't playing.
I mean,
This
2
is the
weeks
fourth
with a
time.
toe injury.
4th time in Mobley's NBA career, he's missed at least 3 days of activity with an ankle injury.
With an ankle. 4 in.
4 seasons.
I actually would have guessed it to be higher than that, but that's an average of 1 a year.
Well, he's had a foot. He's had a calf. Well, so maybe the calf could be considered an ankle as well.
I mean, they've had just horrible luck in this series.
Oh.
Horrible luck.
but some of it's because to some degree, they've allowed themselves to be bullied by the Pacers.
And
every team you say all the NBA, all these players, they think Evan Mobley's great, and okay, fine. You know what they also think? I'm pretty sure. You tell me if I'm wrong.
Soft.
That the Cavs are the softest team in the league.
Right, nobody's intimidated by it. You can go right at their neck. You think the Knicks are scared of them?
No chance. Nobody is.
But what's funny is I think I said on the show, I would not put the Pacers in that category of the Knicks and the Magic.
No.
And these teams that will like play bully ball.
Yeah, but they are.
I wouldn't put Indiana in that.
But do you know what they do have?
Part of it may be that the reputation of the Cavs, and they know they can go at them.
Indy has some FU junkyard dog.
They do.
They have some.
They do.
You don't believe in us? We're gonna come punk you.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't know. Cavs may have been smelling their own coffee a little bit, like smelling their own praises, and coming off that first round series, but they weren't picked.
Right.
I picked them against Milwaukee. They were not the betting favorite in like underdogs in that series. Underdogs. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder that Cleveland hasn't had to.
Right, and unlike the Cavs, they went to the conference finals.
They made the play-in or the in-season tournament championship game last year. They went to the conference finals last year. They are a good team, and I picked Cavs in 5. I thought they'd be really competitive games and hard-fought games, but I did think the Cavs would win in 5.
Yeah, I think we all underestimated the Pacers a little.
No, I don't. Mike definitely didn't. No. I don't think I did. I still think if both teams are healthy, you line it up and throw it out there. I still think it's Cavs in 5. But that's just not the situation.
It comes to a point where you can't use that excuse anymore because if they get hurt every year, then you can't expect them to be
Your question
healthy.
to Ethan was spot on. Like, at what point is it such a recurring trend? You just can't trust these guys.
Right.
And with Darius and Donovan, 2 smaller guards, they wear down as the season goes on. And even if you do everything right like Cleveland did this year to keep them as fresh and as healthy.
It still didn't matter.
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
You tweak an ankle, you hurt a toe.
There's luck. Luck is a huge component of winning a championship. It really is. And injuries are part of luck. And they've had no luck the last 2 years in that regard. Because remember, it wasn't just Jarrett last year. They were beat up against Boston. I remember all the guys that got out by the end.
Donovan missed.
Donovan with the calf.
This actually, it's the same calf, by the way. He didn't get surgery this offseason. I don't think any of us ever talked about him potentially needing. Could it literally be the continuation? He just tweaked it again during the regular season, and it's.
I don't.
We've talked about those rim numbers, like.
Yeah, his rim numbers have been terrible this year. Mike pointed them out to me. I had a conversation with him about them toward the end of the season. Calves are tricky.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
usually a full off season should be enough, but a calf, if you screw around with it, it can wreck your entire season. If you keep coming back too soon and you tweak it again, it can linger for a full season. I remember Josh Donaldson in baseball, like, lost an entire season to a calf injury because he kept trying to come back. It doesn't sound like a big deal,
right?
But those can be miserable. And again, you can't screw with those because you will blow out your Achilles.
Durant rushed back, and that's literally how he tore his Achilles.
I got a question. I ain't really had much to say all day, but this is Mike, Jason, one of you two all in particular. Just being around Donovan Mitchell more often than not this season, talking to him on the record, off the record, we've all learned that he's a pretty selfless leader. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
We've all learned that
absolutely.
he's pretty poised. Just your opinion. Seeing him deal with the injuries he's dealing with and still willing to put himself out there for the betterment of the team, what do you think is probably going through his mind when he's seeing these other guys not willing to put the same effort and energy towards getting out there and playing hurt?
I'm sure there's a level of frustration. I'm sure. He'll never admit to it.
Never.
He'll never talk about it because I think even off the record he won't.
I'd be pissed if I were him.
I think they felt that way with. I'll go back to the previous era when Kyrie had the knee that he wound up blowing out against Golden State. There was a lot of frustration within the organization that Kyrie wouldn't play on it, including from LeBron.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie comes out and breaks his knee against Golden State, and so it can lead to worse things.
And Donovan missed games last year, so he couldn't play.
Well, again, I think a calf is a little bit different because it can lead to career-altering injuries. But I'm sure that he's frustrated because I'm sure he's looking at this as, guys, I talked to him about it a few weeks toward the end of the season. I said, have you ever been on a team that you thought legitimately had a chance to win a championship before this year? And he said, yes, one other time against Utah. They were the 1 seed. I had completely forgotten about it. It wasn't the COVID bubble year. It was the following year. So the schedule was altered. Life was still weird. The world was upside down. I had lost all recollection of that season. And they got bounced. I think they lost to Houston.
Second round.
I think they lost like 3 in a row. I think. I don't remember now. And I think Donovan is looking at this. He knows he's never been out of the second round. He knows this is the best team he's probably ever been on. This may be the best team. There's no guarantee that they're as good next year as they were this year. And I'm sure he's looking at this and saying, he's not old, but he's not young anymore. And he's had a ton of lower body injuries. And this may be my last best chance at doing this. I just re-signed here. And I can't get any help. I'm sure there's a level of frustration.
It's like doing a class project.
Even if you don't blame, even if you don't blame them for not coming out, it's still frustrating that you don't have your guys.
Well, you're doing a class project, and you get an A on the project, right? And you do 90% of the work, and other people, because there was a dentist appointment, and they had to take their kid to baseball practice, whatever, they get credit, but you did most of the work. Yeah. Even though you understand real-life circumstances, you're like, hey, I chipped in.
Yeah.
Like I did way more of the work, and you always feel some level of, not resentment, that's not the right word, but annoyance maybe. Yeah. So Earl, to answer your question, I definitely I don't think he'd ever admit it, but I think he would not be in the wrong if he was a little disappointed that some of his compadres were not out there with him.
I said earlier, you can only ask a guy to do what he is capable of giving you. And Donovan has given everything he's got.
Guardians, by the way, in action right now. They're down 1-0 in the bottom of the third.
Who's pitching today?
Logan Allen.
Yeah, Logan, I saw that.
He just gave up a double to our old friend Ahmed Rosario.
I didn't know he was still playing.
Yeah.
They had that outfielder who's filthy.
What's that?
The outfielder for Washington.
Wood?
The big guy? Yeah. He's fun to watch.
And Dylan Cruz. They got some nice young players. He gave up an RBI double to Jacob Young. Logan Allen, let's see, through 2 innings, he's given up 5 hits already, 1 run, no walks, no strikeouts. All right, let's switch some gears here. There you go. There's your pitching matchup. Soroka came off the injured list.
Today's episode is brought to you by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you are unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand that offers a wide range of products from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but there are 5 brick-and-mortar locations across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simply, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyescu.org for more information. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
All right, there we go. Go ahead, Earl. We got some Shedeur Sanders talk here.
Yeah, so, Steve, if you could pull up this tweet from Robert Griffin III. I seen this on the internet 2 days ago. And RG3 said Shedeur Sanders is the most popular rookie in the NFL and is being set up to fail in year 1. It goes on to say, here's the reality. First-round quarterback tape, but failed to the 5th round. 4th quarterback on roster. Will get limited practice reps behind a bad offensive line. And it got me to thinking not just about Shedeur Sanders, but about Dylan Gabriel as well. The question is, do anybody on the panel believe the Cleveland Browns have the proper infrastructure on all levels for either rookie quarterback to have success in year 1? And then I think the second part of the question would be, what does that even look like per said player?
To me, listen, we've crapped on the Browns a million times, deservedly so. Personally, I think this is so blown out. I think Robert Griffin III is ridiculous. I don't think he's set up to fail at all.
No, I agree.
That the first round tape, that's irrelevant now. I mean, what is that? Has nothing to do with the Browns specifically. Saying the Browns offensive line stinks, I don't think the Browns offensive line stinks.
No,
it's not as good as it once was, but still, it's an adequate offensive line.
Real quick, if you listen to he did a 9-minute video.
Yeah,
he said he's going to be getting reps behind the bad offensive line in practice
Yeah.
Because he's the fourth-string quarterback, not because the Browns are.
Oh.
The whole point is
But what would that matter anyway? He's not getting hit. It's practice.
I was ready to just eviscerate the entire.
Yeah.
His entire point was stupid.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
RG3, terrible take.
Yeah.
Was Kevin Stefanski not a coach that everyone is at some
exact-
point lauded for having a good touch and making quarterbacks better than they have been? And Tom McShay came on our show and was like, "Hey, what quarterback?"
He's well respected in the league.
B, he's coming in behind Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett.
Right.
As if those two have anything locked in stone and they're gonna be the set battle. Like the whole take was ludicrous. Like none of it made sense. And to Bull's point, who gives a rat's if he's behind the four-string offensive line in practice where he can't get hit?
Yeah.
He can't get hit. They're not gonna touch him. He's in New Jersey. So who cares how bad? Like RG3's out of his mind with this one.
I think there's two different conversations to have about this. Number one, okay, he's fourth, but it's wide open.
Yeah,
everybody's going to get, especially the rookies.
He's going to get plenty of reps.
Especially the two rookies are going to get a ton of reps with the first stringers, I would think, because they got to know what they have.
Yeah.
The part where I think the part where I think he has merit, even though that wasn't really his argument, I know we're in Cleveland, everyone's Browns fans that live here. If this was the Carolina Panthers that he went to, would you look at them and say that's an organization built to breed a good quarterback?
No, but before Joe Burrow went to Cincinnati, would you have said they were an organization to breed a good
of course
quarterback?
not. But he was also the number one overall pick.
I hear you, but ultimately, I think most of it's about the player. I know some of it's about the situation.
When you look at 25 years, they've done nothing but run quarterbacks into the ground. They've never developed a quarterback in 25 years. You can look at this and say this is a terrible spot for Shedeur to be in because he's with an organization that doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks.
Right.
And you're right. That's fair.
That is fair, yes.
But the other part of it, I agree with you what you guys said about Kevin. I do think Kevin could, if he does end up winning the job, I think Kevin could work with him just fine.
Yeah.
And he's going to have plenty of opportunities. If he goes out and wins the job, he will win the job. Yeah. The fact he's starting fourth doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that makes this a really unique spot because a lot of times, NFL camp, if you walk in fourth, you're not making the team. You're getting cut.
That's right.
But because of how this is set up and because of who's in front of them and because of where they're at and because, again, I think they're very much looking right now today, gun to the head, they're talking about a quarterback for next year. So they've got nothing but time on their hands right now to look and see what you've got. Yeah. He'll have plenty of chances.
And to the point of the 25 years have they developed any quarterbacks? You're right, they haven't. Now, to be fair about it, outside of Baker, none of the quarterbacks have gone anywhere else and done anything.
Correct.
Now, Baker was part of this regime, so that's on them that he's playing his best football somewhere else and not here. Yeah. But none of these other quarterbacks did anything. The only one you could even argue might have had success somewhere else is Tim Couch, and that was a very unique circumstance because it was an expansion game.
Yeah.
All the rest of the quarterbacks have been bad players.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, were they bad because the Browns ran him into the ground, or were they bad because they were...
Johnny Manziel was going to suck anyway.
I think most of the guys they drafted high.
Tim Couch in a better situation, I believe, would have been a good
Tim Couch is the only one. Yeah. But that was not just... I mean,
so it's
that was
also,
expansion and the Browns.
It's also a scouting issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
It's a wrong pick type issue. I mean...
But what I just didn't like about RG3's comments is, and again, it's so easy to pick on the Browns, and most of the time they deserve it, but he made it seem like the Browns are in some way doing him wrong.
Yeah, no.
And I don't...
If anything, they're the one team that gave an opportunity.
Yeah, I know, which I don't like. I don't think he feels that way.
Will you pull up the RG3 tweet again? Just put it full screen for a sec.
Yeah.
Here's the reality. First round tape to hell to the fifth round. If he had first round tape, he would have went in the first round.
I agree with that.
Right. No.
The NFL, whether we think so or not, the NFL told you it wasn't first round tape.
Well, I think people keep saying that. That's the teams that needed quarterbacks told you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There may have been teams that didn't need a quarterback that thought he was worth a first round.
Steve, pull back up real quick. The next point was fourth quarterback on the roster. Sure, but this is not your traditional fourth quarterback on the roster.
Right.
As Jason just pointed out, it's open. We'll get limited reps. Do we have any idea what the rep scheme is going to be like?
No.
Yeah,
he's talking based on traditional training.
Exactly, and his whole point
normal
of
circumstance.
His whole point of this entire 9-minute rant, where he's sitting down and his wife sits in the background and they zoom the camera and he's like, I'm going to tell you about a conversation people don't want to have. The Browns are setting Shedeur up to no, they're not.
Right,
Every point he
stupid.
made was based on like the traditional 1985 way that an
By
NFL
the
training
way,
camp was run, and that's not how the Browns are operating in today's era.
92% of the time when a video starts with, here's a conversation people don't want to have.
That's how G. Bush starts every one of his Ultimate
Right.
Browns videos.
No offense to G. Bush, but 92% of the time when that's said, that's not true. That's not true, and plenty of people are having that conversation.
G does a great job with his Ultimate Brown shows, though. His teases, his headlines,
he's the king of the
way he
teases.
sets it up. Nobody wants you to hear. No one wants you to talk about this.
Nobody.
But I got my own show. I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, the back end of that that the audience couldn't see when you read he will get limited practice reps behind 3 quarterbacks. He goes on to say, including the Super Bowl champion and the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns acquired this offseason.
Read the whole rest of the tweet, because
that's embarrassing. You've invalidated when you refer to Kenny Pickett as a Super Bowl champion. You invalidate everything you say.
Just read the whole tweet, because it was so bad I forgot each individual point I wanted to hit on.
All right, here's the entire tweet from top to bottom. Shedeur Sanders is the most popular rookie in the NFL and is being set up to fail in year 1. Here's the reality. First-round quarterback tape, but failed to the 5th round. 4th quarterback on the roster will get limited practice reps behind 3 quarterbacks, including the Super Bowl champion and the Super Bowl MVP that the Browns acquired this offseason.
What a ridiculous
will get
comments.
limited preseason reps with the worst O-line and limited weapons. But if there's one young man built to overcome and succeed, it's Shedeur Sanders.
Now, he may be right about behind the bad offensive line in the preseason games, but he's also going to be playing against bad defensive linemen.
But he also said limited reps in the preseason.
Yeah.
If you think Shedeur's going to get limited reps he's going to Joe Flacco has no reason to play whatsoever.
Joe Flacco's not going to play in the preseason, so at worst, he's 3rd string in the preseason, not 4th. At worst.
He will start a preseason game.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. The whole thing was an egregious tweet and an even worse 9-minute video that I can't believe I watched 9 minutes of this.
There's really... I mean, you could talk about like they need to play their guys and more in the preseason, get them ready for the start of the regular season. Again, I'm of the belief they don't really care about winning games this year. Is there any reason to play Kenny Pickett in the preseason?
Not really.
I'd give the entire preseason to the rookies. Dylan and Shedeur get the entire preseason.
Or even if you wanted to do it a little more evenly, you could let Pickett, just to get him some reps, play 1 half, and then the other 2 get a quarter and quarter each in that game, and then the other one is a Shedeur game, and the other one's a Gabriel game, or half.
Yeah, I mean, at most, Kenny Pickett should play a half out of
3 games.
Out of 3 games. So that leaves 2.5 halves for the other 2 quarters.
10 quarters for those 2 to play.
Yeah.
Shedeur should play 5.
Are they going to Philly this year for joint?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that right? That'll be telling. Like, throw the rookies in against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see what you got.
And everything we just said about Shedeur, by the way, applies to Dylan Gabriel, too. Like, he's going to get the same reps. And
I mean, Shedeur gets a lot of oxygen, and I get why, but it's worth pointing out, Dylan's the one they wanted. Dylan's the one they brought in first.
Tomorrow on the show, I heard Nathan Zagura on the Zach Gelb show said that on the Browns pre-draft rankings, they had Cam Ward 1 and Dylan Gabriel 2 out of every quarterback on the board. Cam Ward 1, Dylan Gabriel.
Have any faith in the Browns' ability to determine who's the best
quarterback? So we're going to react to that tomorrow.
All right, go ahead. Before I throw it to Bull for our final MenuRx read, and before we get to Super Chats and introduce a new bit, I'll say this about RG3, and I tweeted this. Just going back into reading that tweet, it just seemed like he wanted to take a crap on the Browns to try to boost up Shedeur Sanders. And I noticed that anytime the Cleveland Browns got, drama or a polarizing figure that's in the building, you always got these national pundits that want to kind of poke their nose in our business. Me personally, I'll go back and forth with any Cleveland Browns fan on any social media platform, no matter how much we disagree. And I'll go back and forth with anybody locally in the media, no matter how much we agree or disagree. But I get so triggered and so annoyed with people on the outside constantly trying to mind our business. It's his old saying, keep your eyes on your own paper. And furthermore, RG3, before we brought Joe Flacco back, wasn't you the one on social media doing your own promo that the Browns should bring you back instead? Just make sure you keep that same energy across the board.
Yeah, RG3 did come to the Browns at one point.
I mean, he has a
He was
podcast.
lousy.
He has a podcast.
Yeah.
And we all know right now Shador is the number one thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
And his show's on YouTube, so he's trying to get clicks.
All right, let's leave it be. All right, folks, I want to talk to you about MenuRx. Dr. Jake May and the MenuRx team are here to help. And if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to get in better shape, if you need one-on-one counseling, somebody to speak to, guys, I know it can be a little, guys don't want to ask for help, but it's huge. If you're obese, if you're flabby and want to tighten up and get stronger, it's good to have somebody to talk to, a doctor, a nutritionist, a scientist, someone that can really help. And because MenuRx accepts many insurance plans, and you could use HSA or FSA payments, you may not have to pay any money out of pocket. It's possible. So contact MenuRx.com today, menu-rx.com. Get the consultation, see what they can do for you. I'm telling you, it's helped me. As much as I still have a lot of weight to lose, I'd be in significantly worse shape if it wasn't for my guy, Dr. Jake May and MenuRx. So go to MenuRx.com. That's menu-rx.com today.
All right, so I had something fun planned out for the end of the show. We got 12 super chats. I'm going to run through these, and then I'm going to toss it to Bull.
Yeah.
Nick says, hey, guys, do you think the Cavs should go after Durant in the offseason to boost our toughness?
I don't know if Durant is the
Is that a joke?
No, that's not a joke.
No.
He's serious. They're not. This is who they are. They're a second apron team. There's no massive moves coming. There's no breaking up of the core four.
They can't.
This is their team for the next 2 years.
Is Durant tough, by the way?
I mean, that would not be my epitome of toughness.
First of all, Durant's not tough. Second of all, you can't make a trade. Go ahead.
You
The
can,
Goober
but it's very
216
difficult.
says, Celtics fans harassing me at work, or y'all hiring? Ray Smith, shout out to Ray, who always spent some bread with us, says 22 times since 2000, a team has went down 2-0 and come back and won a series. It's not looking good, but by no means is it over. Keep faith.
Celtics
Go
fans,
Cavs.
Yeah, but
keep your eyes on your own paper,
Yeah.
Boston fans. You got your own issues right now.
But how many of those 22 teams lost the first two at home? Probably
Jack-
not many.
Jeff Bookshelf says, last night showed me Indy once is more. Christian says, I will pound the start Hedges drum. Bo stinks. Benjamin says, a series from hell after a season from heaven, but the story's not over. Cavs in 7. Goober 216 says, everyone keep your hands to yourself. 100. Derek says, let's rename the Cavs the Sore 4. The Goober also says, bring back LBJ, put him at the 3, win the ship, retire.
Can't
Sean
do it.
says it feels the Cavs have lost their junkyard dog vibe, have to toughen up. Donnie says, Jason, do you think a LeBron reunion in Cleveland is possible?
no.
Grant says Cavs outplayed Pacers, healthy Cavs in 7. That was the end of our super chats. We got 3 minutes.
Hold on one second.
3-0
There's a
Nats, by the
super
way.
chat on the Cavs show this morning we missed.
Yep.
Eddie wanted to know more disappointing loss last night of the Jets when Joe Flacco had that comeback 2 years ago.
Oh, last night.
Last night,
That was
right?
a
Not
regular
even
season.
close.
Playoff game.
Yeah, that was a regular season
Eddie,
game.
there's your super chat. Sorry for missing the caption.
Yeah.
Or
All right, so this is what we're going to do. Mike, you can pick this up and continue this if you want to when Bull is lead host. But one of Bull's catchphrases is, bad job out of you. Mm-hmm. And he often tells me, Anthony, Mike, Jason, Steve, bad job out of us. So at the end of each show, to have some fun, Bull, I want you to tell us who had the biggest bad job out of you moment of the crew.
The bad job out of you moment of the day is going to Mikey
Yeah,
McNuggets.
definitely. I mean, if you didn't nominate me, I was going to nominate myself.
Yeah. Well, what do you think it is?
I used the word I shouldn't have used.
The F-bomb that he dropped in the
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I said it at you.
How did I miss that?
Because you say it all the time, so you didn't even notice.
Hey, Bull, Jason, y'all know how the dump button is in the,
Yeah.
in the radio studio?
Yeah.
I was looking for it.
Yeah, I know.
It's on the pad. It doesn't
That was
work. But it is.
I don't know how the hell I missed that.
Yeah, I didn't mean
Well,
to.
Mike was all worked up because I was saying he said they could win instead of
Yeah,
It was
that's
in that
right.
exact
He
exchange.
was triggered
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah.
It was. I was so triggered. I said a word.
So that. We'll
I'm
go-
sorry, real quick, Steve. I do apologize, and to everyone if I.
Yeah,
offended
that's
you,
the
I do
second reason
apologize.
Mike dropped an F-bomb. I was also going to say I felt like you made too many excuses for the Cavs' losses.
I was just trying to bring some reality.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Reality's
make too many
unacceptable.
excuses. No.
That's a bad job out of you cursing on the air.
Yeah, no, that is terrible out of me. I'm
It
sorry.
is funny. On my podcast, curse all the time now. It's a little crazy.
What's bad? This is why I love Bull. Like that was a moment off camera.
Yeah.
That we would have gotten to a giant F-bomb yelling back and forth at each other just because we like to argue with each other. And it just happened to be that I forgot we were on camera and I said a word I wasn't supposed to say. So
you were so comfortable.
You
just dropped an F-bomb like.
But I was busting your chops because you asked a bad question. Then I was like,
I know.
Word I shouldn't have said better question.
Exactly.
And you didn't even catch it. That's funny.
Earl, final thought.
Overtime today is going to be pretty cool. I want everybody to put their heads together, and we're going to build the ultimate Cleveland Cavaliers player using the traits of everybody that's currently on the team.
All right, that's
beautiful.
Give me Sam Merrill's toes.
Well, what's with his toes?
He's small, so he doesn't have toe injuries right now. So let's put his toes on Darius. I don't know.
All right. I just had a really inappropriate thought. All right, that's coming up in overtime. We'll see you on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.